All right, testing. Actually, I have audio this time. Oh my god, I have audio. Hey, Morgan. I listened to the music. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do it because some of that music that you suggested was like pretty heavy, actually kind of cool, but I didn't know what to pair it with. So I'm still working on it. I'm still kind of working on it. It's been it's been a weird music or weird music. It's been a weird week. It's been a weird week for a lot of reasons, and least of which was it's just been really busy for me. So yeah, it's I haven't had a chance really to work on all that much. In fact, I'm kind of behind on making videos. I rushed through some videos, and I'm feeling I might have to reshoot some of them because I feel like I rushed through them. Excuse me. So yeah, it's been weird. I'm gonna do something a little different. Do some AI vids of squirrels running around. I should. I should do that. Running around with knives and stuff. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Note that down for me later. So that because otherwise, you know me, I'll forget. So I'm gonna do something a little different in terms of format and like order. I do have, luckily, some packages that came in today. I was really worried about this. In fact, I still have a package or two that's actually been delayed, so that kind of sucks. But what I'm going to do instead of starting with the unboxings, which I've done in the past, I'm just going to show. I'm going to start off with the knives that I've already unboxed this week, because, well, obviously I've already had them unboxed. So we're going to do that. So let me get my my pile ready. Holy crap! I've been spendy. This is probably. I'm going to admit something. This is probably going to mean that the next couple of weeks, or the next week at least, is probably going to be a little on the slower side. Oh, I never opened this package. Who is this from? I have a package here that I thought I opened and I didn't. Okay, so that's going to go in the unopened pile. That's nice. Give me a second. I know I'm off camera. I didn't realize I had a package sitting here that wasn't ever opened, and kind of surprised myself. What did I just do with that little piece I cut? There we go. So I thought I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. Go figure. How does that happen? So let me. Oh God! In there went to the floor. Hopefully it wasn't something fragile. I try not to get things that are. That'd be a little disturbing, getting a knife that's fragile. Okay. I've been working on putting like little stickers on the labels instead of marking, because sometimes, depending on the labels they use, the 2737, the stamp that I normally use doesn't work too well. So give me a minute. I'm not as prepared as I thought. That one took me by surprise. I got to see who this one's from, because a lot of times they don't say a business name. They give the actual seller's name. And so I like to know who these come from. So that way when I rate them later, because one thing on Whatnot is you can rate the seller. When I rate them later, I know who to be rating. Oh, okay. Well, that should be obvious, given the last name to that one. Just jotting this down. In my horrible handwriting. Okay. So that's going to be one that I'm going to have to, that's going to be one of the packages that opens later. So, like I said, I've been a little busy. This is going to be the first pile of knives. These were already opened, because there were these came in a package where there was a few things that I wanted to do videos of, and these have been sitting here, or I got these packages like Monday, and so they would have been sitting here all Monday with me staring at them and nothing to do with them. So we're going to start off with a bunch of traditional knives. These are from Chasing Blades, and as you can see, I've been a little buy happy. Probably not the best thing in the world for me, but I have a weakness for shinies. I might rename the Discord channel to Knives Anonymous. Oh, speaking of which, we have a new Discord channel. The correct link should be up, or actually, I should say, down below in the description, because we had lost the original Discord. Had to remake the Discord. So there's a new link. There's a new Discord. Go check it out if you haven't yet. Okay, so what we have here, we have a Rough Rider, and we have a few case knives. This box is actually empty because I have that in a slip. The first one that we got this week was, again, these are all from Chasing Blades. If you don't know who Chasing Blades is, probably my favorite knife seller on Whatnot, or one of my favorite knife sellers on Whatnot. I do a lot of business with him. He's a freaking awesome guy. Him and his brother Mike and his brother Gary, awesome guys. What we have is a Rough Rider. This is called a bowback single-bladed trapper. It's one blade, and they call it a bow trapper because of the weird bow that you have on the handle. It's not a perfectly straight handle. This one has a really tough spring. If you notice, my nails aren't in the best shape. My nails have been damaged by so many nail nicks on these knives. It's got a nice strong spring to it. I was going to say straight, but it's more of a Persian style blade. It does have a back sweep to it. Where's my cloth? There we go. It does have a back sweep to it. And, oh, this had oil on it. I should use a different cloth. Where did my oilcloth? I just had my oilcloth sitting here. And then, of course, I think I moved it. Because why wouldn't I move it? Okay, well, anyway. I'll just use that one now. It has a back sweep to the blade. So it's a Persian style blade, single blade, nice and sharp, really comfortable handle. These curves are actually kind of nice. It fits the palm really well. And one thing I've always loved about Rough Riders, anytime anybody asks, is there a knife under $20 that you could recommend? I have a hard time recommending any real modern knives for under $20 because materials, quality control, and all that other stuff. But I can definitely recommend nearly any Rough Rider knife that I've owned. They've all been pretty darn good in terms of quality control, nice and sharp. They work, they're built well. I've got plenty of them because they're so inexpensive and very collectible. This one's more of a standard type work knife. Nothing super glorious about it. It's got a red micarta handle or scales. Like I said, single Persian style blade. It is a slip joint, so there is no locking mechanism. You have a generous sharpening choil and a nice detent on that mid stop, which makes it a little safer to close one-handed because it won't snap down on your fingers. And then from there, you get a nice tough spring. Now, one thing I did notice on this one, sometimes when you have a slip joint knife, especially when you have one with a really strong, snappy spring to it, sometimes when you snap a knife closed, and that's why you saw me ride the knife down, or ride the blade down on the way down, sometimes the snap can be so strong, it bounces the knife off the spring at the bottom. As you can see there, that back end is a spring, and there's a little hump in the middle. And sometimes the spring can be really it can be strong enough to where, or it just might be not enough clearance, where if you snap the blade down without following it down, the edge can bounce off that spring, and you'll end up with a little roll or dent in the edge of the blade. and I think this one had that issue, which is why you saw me write it down. It wasn't very bad. In fact, I cleaned it up really quick. It did not take me long at all to do so. So the edge is now again nice and razor sharp. But that's why you won't see me snap this blade shut, and I'll just write it down. It wasn't super bad, so the more times I sharpen this, I believe the more steel I actually end up removing as time goes on and I use the knife more and more. It'll probably increase the clearance, and that problem more than likely will disappear. But it's just something that I'm really cautious about, especially with lower cost knives. I haven't had that issue with any case yet, though. Every case that I've had, I've been able to snap shut, and no problem. It never touches that back spring. I don't ever see any uh, damage to the edge, and they've been perfectly fine. And Rough Rider, some of them do. Most of them don't seem to do that. I don't have a problem with. I've just usually on like the work type knives, single bladed knives. Sometimes I'll see that happen. Hey, Waylon, how you doing? Glad you can make it, Waylon. I mentioned it before. I'll mention it again because you're here now. The Discord had disappeared because we had a problem, and the Discord had inadvertently been erased. So we started a new Discord. The new link should be in the description below for the new Discord. So if you want to join the Discord, check that link out. Let me know. Make sure it works. I'm pretty sure that's a new one because I know I did a lot of switching up. But we had to recreate a new Discord. So I just wanted to let you know while you were up there. Let's see. Make sure I got the right. Yeah, Morgan was the one that created the Discord. She got hacked, and whoever hacked her ended up deleting everything, including the Discord she created, which is why that happened. The next one I was going to show you, we got a bunch of case in. I'll show you all the case that I got in from Chasing Blades. Again, these are all from Chasing Blades on Whatnot. Ever since, well, yeah. I mean, I've collected some of these before, but only had like just like less than a handful. But ever since joining Whatnot, I got a real taste for traditional style knives, and I really started learning a lot about them. And I had no idea how collectible and how varied and how big the selection in traditional knives were. And cases quickly become a favorite. This one is a black burlap laminate Day Glow G10 Smooth. Wow, the names that case gives. Smooth XR Sodbuster Jr. The reason why I have it in this is because this is a user type knife. This is a work knife. This is one you don't simply collect to stare at it. You collect to use it. It is a Crossroads, which is like it kind of blended a little bit of the modern into their traditional knives. It is a single-bladed Sodbuster Jr. Sodbuster Jr. is their term for a single-bladed work knife. And unlike a lot of their knives, as opposed to True Sharp, which I'm not sure what True Sharp stainless steel is. I believe it's something like 440 HC or something like that. I could be wrong. They call it True Sharp. This one is made with a much more modern S35 VN steel. So a premium steel in a work knife. Brown, or actually black burlap micarta scales, which I think look actually fantastic. They have these in different styles. They have like a brown wood laminate. They have a green wood laminate. I was just taken aback by how nice the burlap, because I love the pattern of the burlap on these scales. And then you have like a Day Glow liner going across the inside. And again, S35 VN steel, so a much more modern type of steel that they're using on this one. Like I said, these are working knives. Well, all their Sodbuster Juniors are working knives, but this one is, I don't know, it's like, in my opinion, steps above. Now, like I said before, this is one of those that I'm not worried to snap down. It never hits that back spring in the well. Well is nice and clean. I did go through these though. Case knives seem to be the cleanest I've ever taken out of the box. A lot of times other manufacturers like Rough Rider, Frost, Kentucky Cutlery, a lot of those less expensive knives, I do have to do a lot more cleaning in the well to get rid of some of the gunk. But Case has always been pretty good. I still do give them a thorough cleaning, and sometimes there is still some stuff left over, but they're usually not very bad at all. But not much to say about this one other than I love the look of the Crossroads. Again, an awesome steel that they have on these, the S35 VN. Normally, S35 VN steels you'll see on knives that are like, I very rarely see them on knives that aren't I rarely see them on knives under $100. Usually, we'll see them in knives over $100. And this one, I think retail is a little over 100, but realistically, I think these go from like 70 to 90, depending. I can't quite remember. I have to check. But yeah, realistically, they're under 100. You can get them for under 100. Nice snap on these. And the reason why it's out of the box is because I actually use this. I put it in this leather slip. It fits in there perfectly. And that way it's protected in my pocket. And then if I need to take it out, you give it a good squeeze and it drops right out. But otherwise, that's how I carry that one. The other ones are more collectors. I keep in the box, and we'll go through those now. Yeah, that's where it went, Waylon. Unfortunately. Let's start with this one. My girlfriend, if you remember correctly, a little while ago, got me for a birthday present a Mediterranean blue case knife, which is another one that I carry with. Now, this one always comes with me. This is again a Sodbuster Junior. This one's a Mediterranean blue. This one always comes with me because it was a present from her. But I didn't realize how beautiful that blue was going to be, so I felt like I had to get some from the same family, round out my collection a little bit. This one is a mini trapper. So it's 2 blades, same family, Mediterranean blue, peach seed jig. How do they sell? What do they call this? Pocket worn Mediterranean blue bone peach seed jig mini trapper. Good grief. So we have 2 blades on this one. Your California clip blade, your spay blade, all done in the same fashion as that one that my girlfriend got. It is smaller, so they're about, I don't know, they're under 3-inch blades for these. Whereas a regular trapper is just a little bit over, like maybe a 3 1/4, roundabouts there. Beautiful, beautiful blades. I just felt like after I got that one, I had to kind of round out the collection a little bit and add a little bit more. So I picked up that mini trapper, and I also picked up from the same family something I've never gotten before, and this is my first one. This one is a rust lock. Same family as the Mediterranean blue, except what rust locks are is they're kind of like, they have a liner lock. They're actual locking knives from Case. Still a traditional knife. But what they did with this is they created something that was easier for one-handed operation. So similar blue, Mediterranean blue, with a jigging. Beautiful scales on these. The video on my phone does not do the color on this any justice. It's one of those you kind of have to see in hand, but I think the way they do the blue dyeing on these are bone scales. I think they're absolutely beautiful. Now, a rust lock, like I said, is built for one-handed operation. You have a lever here to open the knife, and then it does lock in place with a liner lock. And unlike modern knives, the liner lock juts out from the scales as opposed to having a cutout that you have to kind of dig your finger into. So it's real easy to unlock the knife closed. Now, I'm not used to utilizing this type of locking system. This is actually my very first rust lock from Case. I thought it'd be neat to have at least one example of it. So it does make me a little nervous because these do have a good amount of snap to them. So I'll unlock the blade, and then snap it shut. But yeah, every time I open it, it has this nice snap back to it. So I get a little nervous. It looks like it does stop when it gets about that far. So once I get more and more used to it, I probably won't have any issue opening and closing this one-handed, because they are sharp. But yeah, the rust locks were made to be used with one hand, and I never had one of these before. They're usually pretty pricey. Anytime I've seen them hovering right around $100, which is one of the reasons why I kind of avoided them. I like to stay with patterns that I really, really like. But after seeing this one with the similar scales to the one my girlfriend got me, and not having had a rust lock before, I decided to give it a chance, and I am not disappointed at all in this one. Um, Again, I think they hover around $100 depending on the type of scales that you want with it. Um, so they, like I said, they hover around about of $100, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the scales there. Where did I put the box? This one. Yeah. Okay. I'm still looking to get myself a really nice display case so that these aren't always just sitting in the box. Because I kind of feel bad that they just sit in the box. I want to get them out on a display and be able to like showcase them in some fashion. Um, this one was an addition to the green apple collection that I have. The green apple are the green and yellow ones. I do have a number of these already. I'm just adding more to the collection. This is another locking one from Case. Unlike the rust lock, this does require two hands. This is their green apple. I have I have a trapper, a mini trapper, a sod buster in the same color. This is what's called a copper lock, and it is a locking blade knife, and but it's not a one-handed operation. It does have a Warncliffe blade on it, which is something I don't see all too often on case knives. And like I said, it does have a lock. If you heard that snap, they put it in the middle, so theoretically, I haven't tried it myself, but supposedly you can close this one-handed. It just makes me nervous because there's no mid stop. If I'm going to be closing a slip joint knife with one hand, I'd prefer there be a mid stop where it snaps to a midpoint before moving on to the closed position. And this one doesn't have one, so it does make me a bit nervous. But very beautiful knife. Another working, knife that begs to be used. But really gorgeous green yellow scales on this. Yeah, I like the green apple. I'm not the biggest, I'm not even the biggest fan of green, but something about the look and color, it just reminds me of, it just looks tasty. It looks like, I don't know how to explain it. It looks tasty to me. And I've seen people, and I'm tempted to do this. I'd have to buy another one. Okay, this is the part that's going to make it hard to do. I've seen people do this. If I could, I'll buy another one. Maybe not this one, but maybe like a sod buster, because a sod buster Junior is like their less or least expensive pattern. A sod buster Junior, to remind you, is like this knife is a sod buster Junior. Okay, this pattern single blade like a workman's knife. And I'd have to buy another one, and I have a sod buster Junior in this version with the green apple. Excuse me, I got the sniffles. But what I've seen some people do is they'll take a blowtorch, okay, and then they'll lightly go over the knife with a blowtorch. And what ends up happening is they end up browning a lot of the high points or mid points. I don't know how, I have to look at them again, but they end up browning areas of the bone, because this is bone. They end up browning parts of the bone. And then it ends up looking what they call caramel apple or candied apple. And it looks really good. And I'm really tempted, but it's not something you can buy from Case. It's something that they'll buy a green apple and then they'll have to customize it themselves. So yeah, it's not like an official Case thing, but I've seen handmade caramel apples out and about, because of course it's kind of like a custom job. They do demand a much higher price, but they do look beautiful. I'm really tempted to try it. I just don't want to ruin it because I don't want to I don't want to make a mistake and end up with like, and now we have the poo brown case. You know what I mean? Uh, if I had the money to just grab an extra one and not care about messing it up, I might give it a try sometime in the future. After reading a lot of tutorials and talking to a few people on how they did it. But otherwise, that's maybe for the future. But yeah, I love the green apples. They look like candy to me. They look tasty. You want to lick? I want to lick them. Fortunately, I think this about rounds off the type of green apples I want. The only other one that I think I'd want, and that's a maybe, might be the rust lock. If they have a rust lock on this, I don't know. They don't always have all the knife patterns uh, for every color. Like green apple, I know they don't have a peanut. They don't have a tiny trapper, I believe, and things like that, where other colors might have those. So I don't know. Well, the Mediterranean blue has a rust lock, so I'm guessing the green apple will probably have one as well, but I'll have to look. But that's probably the only other one that I'll want to snag from them. And again, my apologies if you hear me sniffing or sniffling. So, yeah, allergies are a fun thing. But those are the extent of the case knives that I got from Chasing Blades. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I know that can't sound good. Where's my drink? Okay. Other knives that I have unboxed earlier this week, because again, we're going to do the actual unboxings after this. Other knives that I've unboxed earlier this week. I got my fidget knife again that Kenny bought for me originally. I found somebody selling it. This is nothing. They're not expensive. Well, then again, Kenny actually I think bought mine from me for less than what I paid to replace it. It's just a little fidget spinner. R Tech RTEK. Kind of hard to find. The center spinny bit is glow in the dark. They have different colors. This one happens to be gold. It is a assisted knife. There you go. Single edge, although it does look like a double edge. It's a faux edge on this side. Liner lock. I wouldn't suggest spinning it when you have the blade out because I can see that ending very badly. But it was just a fun thing to have. I sold it to a friend of mine, and then after selling it, I realized it's just kind of fun, and I wish I hadn't. But thankfully, I was able to find another one, and so that's just a fun one. I don't expect it to be like a great knife or anything like that. It's just one of those fun things to, literally fidget around with. I mean, it's a fidget knife. It just happens to, it's a fidget toy that just happens to be a knife and is usable for that respect. On the same regard, this is something I got a couple of weeks ago. I just keep forgetting to show. But again, it's something that sometimes when you're collecting knives, something makes you smile or giggle inside. And even if it might not be the greatest knife in the world, even if it might be cheap as hell, if it makes you smile inside, why the heck not? This one just made me giggle. I thought it was funny, and it was super inexpensive. I don't believe I paid more than $12 for this. It is an assisted knife. I don't even normally like half serrated edges. I normally do not like half serrated edges. It's got a weird cut in here. Stainless steel. Hello Kitty, single edged. half serrated, assisted liner lock with a pen or a pocket clip, but it just makes me laugh inside, and that's the whole thing. I'm a collector. I like to collect things that I enjoy, and sometimes those things might not be the prettiest, might not be the most expensive. It just makes you smile inside. And this reminded me of a guitar called it's a Hello Kitty guitar, a pink guitar. I think it was made by Fender under their under their Squire brand, which is their like budget brand guitar. And it really reminded me of that guitar, which is another reason why I smiled, because I've seen people jam some of the heaviest metal with that guitar. And you hear this massively aggressive metal, you look and he's playing a Hello Kitty guitar, and you just have to smile inside and giggle. The same thing with the knife. Here we got Hello Kitty done in pink, and it's a pretty aggressive looking blade. It is sharp. It is quick because it is assisted. It locks up really well. I mean, there's a little movement side to side. Like I said, these are inexpensive knives. Wartech, I'm sorry if you love Wartech, that's fine. Personally, I think of them as kind of like a gas station knife. They're all, I haven't seen an expensive. They're all like around $15, and some of the stuff on them is kind of questionable, to be quite honest to me. But at the same time, sometimes some of them, they make you smile, and that's all that matters. But yeah, a little bit of movement on that blade. Otherwise, relatively solid feeling lockup. But it made me laugh inside, because can you imagine if you're carrying this around, somebody tried to rob you, you had to defend them yourself, and this is all you had, and then now he's got to explain what happened, why he's cut up or in jail or whatever. Somebody fought him off with a Hello Kitty knife. I don't know. I thought it was funny, but there you go. Just something that made me smile. Like I said, I think this was like around $12 when I got it on auction. Just one of those fun things. Now onto the more expensive and interesting stuff. Now again, these are all things that I did open earlier this week because I wanted to do videos on them. I have shot some of the videos, but I have not put them up. I'm still kind of working on editing them. This one is from Cobra Tech. This was a neat one because, where do I have some? Do I have some here? Yeah, I do. This one's a neat one because it is a pen. Now, just like every other Cobra Tech, you get a build quality. Oh, here's something interesting. I didn't read this build quality before, but I mentioned that there's a lifetime warranty on these, okay? I've mentioned there's a lifetime warranty on these, and you got an initial of who inspected the knife, but I never really read this. It says, we take pride in every knife we build you or build for you. That's why these knives aren't assembled until you order one. So they don't assemble these until you actually order one. So when Chasing Blades, I got this from Chasing Blades, they didn't start assembling this piece until they placed the order in, which I thought was just really neat. And then the signature of the tech that actually built the knife. It's not even just a quality control. It's who built the knife. So I thought that was really, really pretty cool. Yes, this is an expensive pen. It is a working pen, as you can see there. I do have another one from Cobra Tech that was considerably less expensive. And I realize I think it disappeared from my desk, which means somebody's walking around with my pen. Gosh darn it. I wasn't planning on showing the other one. I just thought about it now, and now I realized I'd have no idea where that other pen went. Anyway, we're talking about this one. This is called their CNC OTF Gen 2. Ooh, I think. Yes. See, oh my God, I got it right. CNC OTF pen Gen 2. This is their gray color. They have them in different colors like black. They have them in purple. Their gray seems to be kind of like almost like a blue gunmetal, um, with a twist for the pen. The pen itself is refillable, so you can get refills for this. Um, writes pretty smooth. Actually, writes nice and smooth for ballpoint. I'm not normally a fan of pens like this, but that works pretty well. But the highlight of this one is if you unlock the knife here by matching up the line, or unlock the pen here by matching up the lines. I think I just gave it away. Matching up the lines. You use the pen clip, and it is an automatic knife. Single edged. I believe it's about 1 3/4 inch blade, 1.75 inch blade, I think. Single edge, slight drop point to it. It is sharp and just as quick retract. And the cool thing about this one is also does have a lock. So if you spin that to the circle, that prevents the blade from popping out on accident. And then you just unlock and you're back in action there. Really smooth and fast. A little movement on the blade, but I don't know any OTF that hasn't had any movement on the blade at all. I think it's just the nature of the build. When you build an OTF, it's going to have a little bit of play in the blade. I don't think you can really escape that without possibly like compromising something else on the knife, whether it's like how it functions and stuff. So I've had one of my most expensive knives to date is an automatic made by Tecto, and that one has just as much play in the blade as this one does. So while it does have some play in the blade, it's not it's something that I expected. Now I can't imagine this doing a whole lot of heavy duty work. This is a great one for like package opening and things like that. Now, I got this from Chasing Blades, but however, they can't sell these on Whatnot. Chasing Blades has their own website where they sell automatics, and it's called unwaveringendeavors.com. Again, unwaveringendeavors.com. And if I recall correctly, these are going for $89.99. I happened to get mine on sale at $79.99. So $10 off. But great little pen knife. And the funny thing is, it works really well as a pen. I'm like really impressed with how well it works as a pen. And it's refillable. And it locks, which is really cool. So this was a fun one. Hey, Jono, how you doing? This was a neat, fun one. Yeah, don't go breaking it. Yeah, you can see already. It's been, my thumb has been very upset. And now even my forefinger had a little crack in there, although this one's healing. This one has been having the time of its life trying to open traditional knives. But this is the C&C OTF Pen Gen 2. This one's in gray, as you can see there. Yeah, he wrote EDC when I bought it, so he knows where it's going. But that's this one. Again, when you get a Cobra Tech pen, you're going to get a lifetime warranty and you're going to get a code. This one I already did, so it doesn't matter if it shows up. But you'll get a code, and then you want to register your knife at their website to kickstart that lifetime warranty on that. And their lifetime warranty, I mean, just like any other, won't cover loss or damage caused by abuse. But from what I understand, if there's any problem with craftsmanship or anything like that, or blade sharpening, they'll do. That's covered for you. But neat pen, one of the more unique ones that I have. I thought that was really cool. Again, that's from unwaveringendeavors.com. I don't know if I have, I'll type it in because I don't know how my voice is coming through. But that's where I got the pen from. That's where I got, if there's something that Chasing Blades on Whatnot cannot sell through Whatnot for whatever reason, or you're just not going onto Whatnot because you don't want to use Whatnot, they do have that storefront, unwaveringendeavors.com, and a lot of the stuff that they sell on their auctions, they have in there, plus stuff that they can't sell on their auctions, like automatics, such as that pen. So check if you're not into Whatnot, go check that one out. Um, highly recommend them. Mike and Gary are the owners. They're really awesome brothers, and they're just amazing guys. So let's go in with another. Okay, I've got like 3 more knives that I actually unboxed earlier this week before we even go to the packaging, or the packages that I got today. So this one is from Remet. I have started really liking Remet knives ever since I bought the Remet Squirrel, which was, I think, one of my first knives from them. And I've got a couple budget knives from them, like the Rhino, the Wild Species. I even got a premium limited one that was a collaboration Wild Species. That was like $100. This one came across. It's part of their budget line, so it's not terribly expensive. This one is called the RTB. RT Romeo Tango B, as in the honeybee. And now you get it in a little taco pouch. You got a microfiber cleaning cloth. Does it say the RTB on this one? Just because I say it and then I never know if I'm saying it right. Okay, so there it is. Remet RTB knife. Okay. This one comes with black G10 scales. It's a non-reversible pocket clip. You do have a rear flipper, and you have thumb studs for deployment. I can't remember the size of this one. Let me look it up real quick, and then I can tell you a little bit more about it. But I've been really liking a lot of the Remet knives that I've been seeing. So far, every Remet knife that I've gotten my hands on has been built really well. Quality control has been great. Really good knife choices of knife steels, materials. The feel has been great. The blade on this one, really good, smooth movement. It's a 14C 28N steel. Again, one of my favorite steels. I've mentioned that many times before. One of my favorite steels for a budget knife. And let's see, the length on this one, it's a 2.8-inch blade, which makes it perfect for carrying, in the state that I reside in. Sheep's foot blade, which I also happen to really like on carry knives, because the sheep's foot profile is just such a handy profile. Liner lock. Again, it has a deepish carry pocket clip, non-reversible, and has a little interesting thing that caught my eye. I don't know how often I'd use it, but I just thought it was neat. Instead of being able to reverse the pocket clip, you have what you have here, a titanium alloy, and they call it a fruit pick or toothpick, and it's pretty sharp. It comes to a decent point. I mean, I can poke my finger at without really, hurting myself, but if I apply too much pressure, obviously it's going somewhere I don't want it to go. But a neat little fruit pick toothpick made out of titanium alloy, and it fits right into the handle. And there is a depression, like a detent there, if you can see right in the tip of my finger. So when it's pressed in all the way, it locks. It's not going to fall out. It doesn't appear to be like it could easily be lost. You do need a bit of grip and pressure to pull that out, and then it locks itself back in place. But I just thought that was kind of neat. I don't see that too often, except in like things like Swiss Army knives and such. Again, real quick, fast, smooth action, especially with the thumb studs. Whoa, that one had a ring to it. Okay. Liner lock, which is nice and secure. I've checked this before. No movement in the blade whatsoever. There's not too much to say about this, other than you got full steel liners. You got some holes cut in. Probably helps cut the weight down a little bit. You have a very generous finger choil here. which is great, especially with a sheep's foot style blade, jimping on the back. And the reason why I like this finger choil where it's at is for real precise cutting, real precise control. You can choke up even further and have your finger at the very end or top of that blade. The finger choil gives me a generous amount of space that I don't have to worry about like cutting myself holding the blade this way. And I can really, really take good control of how I cut or draw a cut with this knife, having my finger all the way up there like that. So really comfortable, really utilitarian blade. And I mean, it's relatively basic by a lot of standards. I mean, no real bells and whistles other than the fruit pick. Just really good choil, really good blade profile, good steel, awesome build quality. That's one of the reasons why Remet has become one of my favorite manufacturers. Their budget line has been pretty outstanding so far. I haven't found anything that I've really had to complain about, to be quite honest. And I've got more Remet coming, and you're going to see in a little while. But this is the Remet RTB. A quick look at that. I'm going to go ahead and throw this back into the taco, because we've got a few knives to go through. And then while I'm doing this, you guys got to let me know, have you guys picked up anything new? Because the original Discord had been deleted, if you haven't yet, show some pictures. I'd love to see some of your new stuff. I always love seeing what people have, and that's also how I learn. Because a lot of times, like, yeah, I'll dig through knife like forums and watch videos and stuff like that. But a lot of times, I don't learn about a new knife unless somebody actually mentions it to me. Let's do this one next. This one actually came in just a couple days ago, prior to the last one I'm going to show you. This one is from Vosteed. I haven't gotten a new Vosteed in a little while, so I'm excited about this one. You just my old knives? What? Vosteed had become a kind of a favorite. I say kind of a favorite because I don't own a lot of them. I got the Vosteed Raccoon, which was a very popular knife. I got the Vosteed Porcupine, another amazingly popular knife. So popular that a lot of times they were very hard to get. And I loved them for the fact that they utilize what's called a top liner lock, which is like a button lock, but it's actually a liner lock. You have the security of a liner lock, but the ease of using a button instead of having to put your thumb across a place where the blade can move. Yeah, you keep buying my cast offs. But this is the newest one I've got from them. This one is actually a new release. Did I look already? This is actually a new release from Vosteed. Oh yeah, can you put the link down? The link is in the description below. Let me know if you try that link and if it works for you or if you run into a problem, because I know I put the new link in. I just want to make sure it works. This one is called, and again, this one's new, recently come out, Vosteed Croc. And I picked this up because I thought the blade, first of all, it's a blade size that I can easily carry without any question here in the state that I reside in. But also, it just had a very interesting look to it. We've got, what do we have in here? Is that something? No, it looks like something. This looks like it might be like a mini catalog. Gosh darn it, get out of there. Lego. Really? Don't want to use a knife though. Oh, look, I have tweezers. Okay, so there is something down there. We have Vosteed support. We have we got a sticker. Oh, a raccoon. Of course, it's a raccoon because one of their most popular knives was the Vosteed Raccoon, and we have a microfiber cleaning cloth. Yay! I was hoping I'd have something extra in there, and then some non-edible. I don't know what this is. Super dry desiccant. Do not eat. Okay. I will try to remember that. Let me see here. Okay, so you get a little pouch with this one. And yes, I picked this color because the color intrigued me. Shush. This one is a purple and yellow. Again, it's called the Croc. I really like the color on this one, but I got it because it wasn't a bad price. In fact, I think I got this on Amazon. Let me pull it up real quick while I talk about it. Frosted Rock. Okay. There we go. No, it's... Did I not get this on Amazon? Oh, wait, no, I didn't get this on Amazon. I think I ordered this directly from Boston. I can't even remember where I bought a knife from. I might have got... Yeah, okay, I think I got this directly from Boston. Again, this is one of their new ones. Let me get to the knife, and then I can show you what I'm looking at. Gosh darn it. Yeah, new arrivals. Oh, this color is sold out. Well, that's a pooper. They do have plenty of other colors, though. Some a little bit more expensive. This one on their website was $69. It has a 2.99-inch sheep's foot blade. You have a front flipper. You have a thumb hole, and you have that top liner lock that I was talking about. The front flipper works really well. And there you go, your sheep's foot blade. You can use the top liner lock to open it up, that button right there. And also the thumb hole is I keep crossing my thumb over because I keep expecting to hit a liner. The thumb hole is pretty generous, really easy to spidey flick, and also get my thumb in there to open it up. I guess you can call it the normal way. I love how easy the front flip is. It's don't even have to think about it. You just do it. I like the security of the fact that it's a liner lock. Nice click on that when I open it. Really easy to close because you don't have to cross your thumb over to actuate the lock, which means there's no weird cutout here. The pocket clip on this one, relatively deep carry, as you can see, and it is reversible. And oh, I forgot to mention, all the other knives were perfectly aligned, which is something that I like to see. This perfectly centered. The other knives that I showed were also perfectly centered. I just forgot to mention it. Those I know I've checked before. Perfectly centered blade there. What else do we have in here? We got partial liner. And let's see, where does this blade close at? Because it looks like it's hitting... There's a stop bar. Okay, the stop bar hits it like right around here from what I can see. So it won't interfere with any sharpening, which is nice. Really thick sheep's foot blade. Just a hint of a belly there. Again, a very generous finger choil up here. So I can... that grip I was talking about, can easily get a full grip on this one. Choke up a little bit on it. You got some jimping over here for a little bit more control or real precise control. You got enough of finger choil that you can bring your forefinger up and really do some precise cutting this way. I like the sheep's foot blade. It's kind of a modified blade, doesn't round off, but I like how the point is a lot lower than midline. So draw cuts are extremely easy to do with this type of blade. Again, this profile, when it comes to EDC, everyday carry, this is probably my favorite profile for an EDC knife, just because of its utility. But really slicey blade. I believe it is a flat grind. Yeah, it's a flat grind.
with a good amount of body in there. A little, I don't believe there's any swedging really. No, no swedging, just the jimping here. And that's a really nice blade. The blade on this one, I believe, is 14C28. Yeah, okay, yeah. We got Vosteed here etched on the blade on one side, 14C28N etched on the other. Really smooth action on this one, nice and quick, snappy. I do see oil at the pivot, so it looks like they put a generous amount of oil there. I love how easy it is to close with that button, that top liner lock, and it's a very fidgety blade. I especially like how easy it is to spider flick this thing. So I do this a lot. This is, if I'm fidgeting with a knife, it's going to be a knife that's got a thumb hole in it, and I'm spidey flicking the heck out of it. Either spidey flicking, or I'm running my thumb over that front flipper. Nice and snappy. That was, how did that lock up? Solid lock, no movement, either up or down, left or right. Yeah, nice choppy blade. But you've got enough of a point where instead of like a lot of sheep's foot blades, they'll come down and then curve to the blade edge. This one's kind of like a modified sheep's foot where they kind of clip the point a little bit. So you do have a bit of a point there still. So you can still do the pokey pokey. Maybe not to the extent of like say a clip point blade or a dagger or a spear point, but you still have enough of a point to do the pokey pokey. But yeah, very choppy, slicey blade though. But I do love these types of blades for like utility work, kind of like a really big, thick razor or utility razor. But really cool pickup. I like the purple and the yellow. It's just a unique color. I started off with so many black blades or black scaled blades because that's kind of like that was kind of like the thing for like the longest time is the black scales. And then the next big thing were just to differentiate. The next thing was like green scales, and then I noticed my collection ended up like nearly half black scales, half green scales, and I'm really enjoying seeing a lot more color on some of these scales like this purple and yellow. Yeah, kind of like a miniature butcher's knife. I do like how the handle is it's got a little bit of a belly there to make it nice and comfortable. The edges are rounded off, but it's a little higher up in line to the blade. So when you are holding it, that blade edge is a little bit lower. You can actually, even with a full grip, you can actually chop a bit with it without having to, angle your fingers so high up that, you just end up, all you can do is slice or cut. You can actually do quite a bit of chopping with this blade. But that's because of how the handle is profiled. But nice and comfortable handle because of that little belly there, but still relatively neutral. So you can hold it in different grips without it being really uncomfortable, or no finger cutouts to make it feel weird if you hold it in a different way. So I really, really like that. But a really cool one from Vosteed. I haven't done a shoot with this one yet. In fact, this is the first time really looking at it. Um, and that came in just a couple days ago. Was really excited because again, I really like Vosteed knives. I just don't have a lot of them because a lot of times they're hard to get, and sometimes they can be pretty pricey. So I have to pick and choose when I pick something up. I'm glad I got this one. This again was the Vosteed Croc. This one is new for this year. I don't know exactly when it came out. My guess is within the last month. This with a 14C28N steel blade on their website was $69. They do have other colors, and they do have some with upgraded premium steels that will run a little higher. Like they have them with an S35VN steel blade with aluminum and ocean micarta handles. That one's going to run you 130 and thereabout. They have one with aluminum and I believe an S35 VN blade that's coated in rose gold. That's going to be 139, and they have other colors also at 69 or $70. So you got a good deal of choices when it comes to the Vosteed Croc. I would just check out their website, vosteed.com, and you can see what's available there. But that's a cool one. Now, the last one that I opened early this week, and I opened this one early this week because it was such an interesting knife. I have a thing for knives with interesting and unconventional locks. To give an example, one of my favorite knives, I don't use it very often, but it's a favorite of mine because it's a solid lock, but it's a different, it's not a button lock, it's not a liner lock, it's not even a lockback. But this one's Cold Steel's AD15 Light, and it uses what's called a scorpion lock. Now, this isn't the one, I've had this for a while, but I'm just showing you an example of a interesting locking mechanism where this one, after you open the blade, nice and sturdy lock, but to unlock it, this bar moves on a spring, and you have to pull the bar up to unlock the blade. And you can do it one-handed by slipping your finger between the bar and the scale, and that unlocks the blade, and then you just let go, and then it locks the blade closed. And it's a pretty secure close, too. This is called Cold Steel Scorpion Lock. And another nice feature about this lock is because the way it works, it sits on a spring and you have to move it up to open it. When you're using it, you're just automatically applying a little bit of pressure to this lock. And while the spring is nice and sturdy and this lock is very secure, you have the added security of having like hand pressure on that lock, further keeping it secure from folding over. Not that it would, even if there wasn't any pressure there. This thing is a really solid, strong lock. But that gives you an example of some interesting locks that I've seen on knives that I really, really like. And then this one that I got this week is no exception. Let me get that back in its case. But the one we got is from Concept. This is another favorite manufacturer of mine. They've got some really interesting knives. Excuse me. This one was new for around the end of August. There's a microfiber cleaning cloth in here and some other documentation. You've got Concept's little knife pouch. I like their boxes. They're kind of neat. But what we have here, this is called the Concept Hazard. And I might have showcased this a little bit on another video earlier, on my gaming channel. But there it is. This is called the Concept Hazard. It's a 3.63-inch blade, CPM S35 VN steel in bronze, anodized, and stonewashed titanium. And what makes this knife interesting is you'll see there's no thumb stud, there's no thumb hole, there's no rear flipper, there's no visible way here on the blade or on the back to open it, but you have this funny looking thing here in back. Now again, S35 VN steel, titanium scales, titanium pocket clip, beefy blade. Again, this was what, 3.63 inches? Yeah, 3.63 inches. And the way this works is, I was going to say similar to the Scorpion lock, but it really isn't. They call this the Bali lock. I hope I'm pronouncing it right because I'm pretty sure it's named after balisong, like the balisongs, the butterfly knives. I'm pretty sure that's why they call this the Bali lock. And the way this works, and the way I do it anyway, okay, because I'm not a trickster, I'm not going to be flipping my knife all over the place and doing tricks with it. The way this works is, or the way I do it is, I'll take my thumb and middle finger and I'll pinch this little lever that you see here. There's some indentations on this, makes it really easy to get a grip on. And then I'll place my forefinger on the back here and use that leverage to move this bar out. Once you have it out to a certain degree, it unlocks the blade. And then by closing or pushing the bar back in place, it securely locks the blade in place, and then it's not going anywhere. There's no blade movement whatsoever, so it's a very solid lock. I have opened this before, so I was working on doing a video on it. It's a very solid lock. Nice size finger choil. Again, like those other knives that I've picked up. A little bit of a finger groove here and a little bit of a curve there, but still relatively neutral grip for different grip styles. But I do like the extremely large finger choil. Again, for that finer control of the blade and for some precise cutting. Really nicely finished blade. I keep fingerprinting it. Really nicely finished satin blade. If it'll focus. You got a drop point that comes to just below midpoint of the knife. Nice smooth lines on this blade. Nice and sharp. I've tested this out before. And like I said, I have a thing for really interesting locks. And to close the blade, it's basically the same thing. I'll pinch that bar, open up to a certain degree, and then the blade can swing closed and then lock the bar back in place. There is an indent or detent on the end of this bar, so the bar itself doesn't just fly open. You do have to pull it out in order to actuate the blade, and it does lock again back in place. Also, it does have to move to a certain degree. So if I were to just unlock the blade and say I only moved it to that degree, that blade is still not coming out all the way. In fact, I have to have it about... Okay, I have to have it about here in order to get that blade to move freely. So you do have to have the bar move to a certain amount. And same with closing the blade. If you don't move the bar up far enough, the blade won't close. So you have to make sure it's out far enough away from the scale, give it enough room, and then it'll finally close. And again, it is a very secure lock. With practice, it can be done pretty quick. I mean, it's probably not as fast as, say, your button lock or anything, thumb lock. I think thumb locks seem to be, either thumb locks or thumb holes seem to be the fastest way to open a blade. But it's just fidgety fun. And like I said, I have a thing for very interesting locks. There's a gnat stuck in your beard. So, like I said, I'm not going to do any tricks with this one because, frankly, it frightens me a little bit. They do call it a hazard. I have seen other people get really comfortable with it, and they'll grip this, and then they'll I don't know how they'll drop it, flick it out, and close. They'll twirl it a little bit, and then lock it in place. And then they'll do the same thing to close it. I like my fingers. I have a lot of bandages. I don't want to waste them all. So I'm just going to stick with the way that I've got it. It works for me. It's very simple. And it is relatively quick. So that's how I'm going to do it. That's how I'm going to practice opening and closing it and leaving it at that. I'll leave the spinny tricks to everybody else that's willing to do it. I do have cut gloves that I was considering wearing and then practicing with, but when you have really good cut gloves, you lose a lot of feeling. I mean, they're not super thick, but you do lose a lot of tactile feeling with those gloves. So it actually makes operating the knife with those cut gloves a little harder. So yeah, I'll leave the tricks to the professionals, and I'll just open it the way I'm most comfortable with. But I thought this was such a cool knife. Again, such an interesting way to open. This one is not a cheap knife. I picked this one up direct from Concept Knives, and Concept Knives, this one is running And oh, have a good one, Jono. Go enjoy your. Oh, that sounds like a great breakfast. This one, oh, and this one is sold out. This is the bronze anodized and stonewashed version. They have one that's more of a gray titanium with blue accents, which I thought was supposed to be really popular. They have like 3 of those left. They have also sold out, looks like a black wash titanium with rose gold coated blade. That one I know is sold out, it looks like. And then they have one with a black wash titanium and I believe a black wash blade. All of these are running at $159.89, so $160 for this one. That's direct from Concept. That's where I got mine, 160 bucks. But really, really neat design. This designer name is Stephen Dunnuck, if I'm pronouncing it right. Stephen Dunnuck. Stephen Dunnuck design. I'm not all that familiar with a lot of designers, so I can't really say a whole lot about that. The only real designer that I'm even remotely familiar with is Osho, who does a few who's done a few custom designs for Kaiser. I have one of his. I want to pick up a couple others. He does the Staffy, the Bully. The one that I have is the Bulldog. He's designed the mini Bulldog. Um, the Staffy and Bully look really cool from Kaiser, and I'm hoping I can pick one of those up in the future. I just can't anytime soon because I get a little spendy with some of the other stuff you guys are about to see. But again, this one's from Concept, 160 for this one. Some colorways are sold out, so if you want to check this out, I suggest you do so soon. Really cool blade, love it to bits. I really love when knife designers are willing to try something new, provided it works really well. But I really like seeing new innovative stuff from designers, new interesting ways to say, locking mechanism, blade style, handle style, things like that. Because admittedly, especially when, like me, I've collected a lot of knives, there gets to be a point where some designs start looking the same, and you begin to wonder, why would I buy this knife over that knife? What are the materials and stuff like that? So it's really nice to see something new and refreshing when it comes to pocket knives, whether it be materials, locking design, blade design, things like that. So that's really cool. That one is from Concept. One of my favorite things I've unboxed so far this week. Now, yeah, Concept has some really cool designs. I've got a few Concepts. I like they're another budget line that I really like. I bought 2 of them because I like so much. They have a budget Concept accipiter. I have one in green micarta. I don't have them out now, otherwise I'd pull them out. I have one in green micarta. I know I've showed before. I have one in green aluminum. I have one in their lightning strike titanium, which is a mini cryo, one of my favorite knives also. And now I have that. Oh, I have a mini Main Street, which is really tiny. And then now I have that, which is really cool. Now we're at the point where I can actually start unboxing stuff. So we're gonna get to that. Give me one moment. And I need a drink. I'm out of drink. Okay. Now we're at the point where I can actually unbox stuff. Let me get my knife here. And we're going to start with this one. This is from Sigley Ironworker. Now, all these purchases, with the exception of one thing, which is technically already unboxed, is going to be from Whatnot Sellers. This one is from Sigley Ironworker. I don't believe I got anything from them before, except for maybe a giveaway. Ooh. Okay, I know what this is. This is a traditional knife, and it's a traditional knife made by Hen and Rooster. Hen and Rooster. Knocked my camera. Hen and Rooster is another popular maker of traditional knives. I don't see them nearly as often as I see Case. I don't know if this is a U.S. made knife. I believe it may be, because I know they do U.S. made. They also have stuff made overseas. But this is an interesting one. Forgot this is coming in. This was a Hen and Rooster with a certificate of authenticity limited edition. To verify that the knife I purchased is genuine Hen and Rooster knife. Okay, since 1845. Either high carbon or stainless steel blades. And another certificate of authenticity. Congratulations. Let me read that. Congratulations on your purchase of a genuine, one-of-a-kind work of art, uniquely hand-designed by Michael Prater. This certificate verifies that the knife you have purchased is a genuine, collectible Michael Prater customs knife made exclusively for Frost Cutlery Company. Each one of these custom designs is the highest quality with superb materials and workmanship. Only a limited number will be produced. Now, Michael Prater makes these scales. In this case, he worked with Hen and Rooster, obviously Frost Cutlery, and he's done some for Case. And they tend to be a little harder to get, but they're called, oh, shoot. Coralon? Is it Coralon? Is the material? God, I flubbed this. I had it in the tip of my tongue, and I might have messed it up. Coralon, I believe. Knife. Yeah, okay. Coralon knives. Or handles, I should say. And I think, as far as I know, he's the only one that makes these scales for these manufacturers in Coralon, and he always does it in a limited amount. And because of the way they're made, no two are going to look the same. You might have 500 of the same series, but again, the patterning is going to look a little different. And the interesting thing with these is, unlike other traditional knives, there's no pins to hold the scales to the knife. A lot of times you'll see these like 3 pins going through the scales. And with the Coralon, there's no need to do so. This one had just an interesting color. I don't know what it is about this one. It's like a pearly pink with some green on it. There you go. And I just thought it was a really neat color. This one, I wish you could see it. The camera's not going to do this one justice. You got the Hen and Rooster badge there. This is a trapper knife. I've wanted to get one from Case, but like I said, the ones that I've wanted, they tend to be a little harder to get. You get Michael Prater signature on the clip point. And I'm trying to be careful because I've been ruining my nails. Your typical California clip blade and spay blade. Nice, clean wells on the inside. But again, the star of the show, and again, I wish you could see this better, is this Coralon scale. Pearly white mixed with pink and green. Almost, I don't know, it shimmers and is reflective in a real interesting way. And there were other colors, like I said, I wanted to get them from Case, but every time I go to look, they sell out super fast. And the Case ones especially tend to be really, really pricey. I don't know what it is. It's just part of the reason was the look of the green, the white, and the pink. But the other reason was that the fact that it's really hard to get a hold of a Coralon. Or at least for me, it's been hard to get a hold of Coralon. So I saw this, and the Hen and Roosters tend to be considerably less expensive than the Case versions. So I just snapped it up without really caring, to be quite honest. It's like, ooh, it's a pretty Coralon. I want it. And it was not nearly as expensive as the Case one, so I nabbed it. The Case ones normally will run over $100. The Hen and Roosters, this one, I know they get close to about $100, but I got a deal on this for about 40, I believe, for this one. But it was just nice to get a hold of a Coralon finally. And it's not like a natural bone or anything, but it's something about the uniqueness of them. And it is a very pretty knife. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like I have a thing for pink, but sometimes if that's what I can get at the moment for a good price, I will nab it. And I do think it's a very gorgeous looking scale on this one. I know you have a thing against pink. um, but really cool. Again, the camera's not going to do this justice. I love the swirling. It's very ref- it's got this reflective quality to it that I don't think is going to come across on the camera. I'll be honest. I don't. It's not going to look anywhere near as good as it does in my hand. Like I'm looking at it at my hand, or I'm looking at it in my hand, and I'm looking over at the screen, and I can't. I can't. It's got a pearlescence to it that is just not coming across. I wish I could describe it better. I wish I could show it better. But there is a very shimmery pearlescence to this that is just seriously not coming through on the screen. And nice sharp blade. I felt it when I was wiping it earlier. Thankfully, I didn't cut myself. But let's see how this sits actually. Again, limited in series, nicely centered in the wells. Yes, they did a great job on this one. Nicely centered in the wells. Um, but really pretty blade. I was just happy to get my hands on some Coralon. There are other ones that looked really cool. And unfortunately, like I saw one, I was thinking about nabbing it. They had one available. It was like, they called it 24 karat gold made by Case. It was like $120. And it was like black and gold in the same swirly, made by Michael Prater, limited edition, obviously. And as soon as I went to go hit it, off it was gone. Sold out. They had another one that was called Fire in Box, which had some amazing colors to it: red, orange. I forgot, I forgot what other colors, but it looked absolutely beautiful. Saw three, and then I was stupid. I had to think about it again. I had to sit there and think about it. Do I get it? Do I not get it? It's like $120 freaking dollars. It's a pricey knife, for a traditional, at least as far as I'm concerned. And then, I hovered over it. I thought about it, went to go, and I went back to the website to add it to the cart, and they were gone. Just again, sold out. So they're killing me. Every time I sit there and rethink about getting one of those other Coralon colors, they're gone. And it's a type of knife that if you really want one, you're gonna kind of have to recheck and check and check and check the websites for their availability. And as soon as you see one that you like, hit it, just nab it, just grab it. And they even have stuff that's not necessarily like the swirly color thing. I've seen some that were predominantly white with a like a black widow, spider, and a web pattern on it. Different, other different types of imagery done in Coralon. And again, the unique thing is there's no pins to break up that imagery or break up the color. Um, and again, all limited. He only does a certain number of them before they go away. So highly collectible. I jumped on this one because these were going fast in the auction. There were like 3 different colors, and I lost out on all of them except this one. And I was just so ecstatic to get at least one of them. So, and these were hen and rooster, so they're not even as expensive as Case ones, but they are absolutely beautiful and absolutely nice knives. I'm just glad to get one in hand. But that was from Sigley Ironworks. Really cool knife. I don't care if you don't like pink or not. I think it's absolutely beautiful. You're getting My Little Pony vibes. I never thought about My Little Pony. I don't know. It's almost like I've seen similar colors on like white abalone. Obviously, that's not white abalone, and white abalone is predominantly white, but has some reflective colors to it. And that reminds me of it. Now here we have another favorite seller of mine. This is from Appalachia Freeze Dried Knives. More often than not, I tend to buy a lot of candy from this guy because his freeze dried candy is friggin' the bomb. In fact, we just opened a box today that my girlfriend ordered that had freeze dried peanut brittle, freeze dried Three Musketeers, freeze dried Rolos, freeze dried Twix. Oh, they're so good. they're so tasty.
I get diabetes just looking at the bag. I'm looking at my preview, and for some odd reason, I'm still on the penknife. That's weird. Okay, so this one is from Appalachia. This one is a inexpensive. This was a fun one, I believe. Hold on a second. Let's see. Do I have a? No, we got my usual Appalachia sticker. And thank you for always supporting us. Of course, he is awesome. He's another great seller on there. He does obviously sell knives as well. And sometimes I come across stuff, some unique stuff. And this one is no exception. This one is also on the lesser expensive side, which is always good. Let me open this package is being. Oh! Oh! I noticed the package already had a hole in it. I may or may not have just dropped the box on my nut. Ow. I'm just glad it wasn't a naked blade and that it was in a box. Give me a moment to catch my breath. Holy crap, that hurt. Even I thought that was funny, though. Oh, shit. Oh, okay. Oh, God. All right, this one. Oh, jeez. This one is from Rough Rider. Oh, right on the testy. Son of a. There was a hole. Okay, I was cutting. Hold on, where is it? It was folded over. I was cutting the tape part, okay, not realizing there was a hole at the bottom of this thing. And as I was cutting the tape part, the friggin' box fell right on my gonads. Fell out of the damn bag. Right in the mommy daddy button. I'm fine. I just needed to catch my breath. Okay. This is from Rough Rider. And as soon as I saw him put this on, show this on the table, it was that's mine. I'm buying it. Fight me. I forgot how much I paid for it. Actually, how much did I pay for it? I didn't look. I forgot how much I paid for it. But it was one of those, as soon as I saw it hit the tables, like, you're not beating me on this. I'm going to pay $20 billion. Oh, I only paid $12 for this. That's cool. This is called the Lucky Lady from Rough Rider. And I've mentioned it before. I have a thing for, no, I don't, it's not like I collect a lot. Like, I don't have a lot of paraphernalia to this regard. But anytime I see this stuff, I just have a thing for the, those bomber graphics from like World War II where they paint the Lucky Lady on the side of the bomber, and they had like a whole bunch of pinup art. Yeah, basically pinup art. And I have a thing for pinup art. I just think they look really neat. And this Rough Rider is it's a working knife, meaning a single blade. It does have a single thumb stud and even has a pocket clip on it. And it's one of the few that has a liner lock. But you've got the Lucky Lady, a little bit of pinup art there on the scale, protected by a clear acrylic. There you go. And like a green scale, otherwise kind of like the bomber green pocket clip there, single thumb stud. Whoa. Okay, that scared the hell out of me. Apparently, this is assisted. I did not realize this was. I don't recall ever seeing an assisted knife from Rough Rider. Or at least I don't. This is the first one I've got. Assisted blade. That one just snapped open really fast. Stainless steel. I'm assuming it's gonna be like 440. The part number on this one, if you can see in the back there, RR2722 on that. Not too much to say. It's almost like a modern style
I don't know how to explain it. Like, Rough Rider went and made another modern knife that looks like a traditional. It is a liner lock. And okay, yeah, I can feel that spring now. So yeah, I got an assisted blade. Yeah, I was not prepared for that. It just whipped right out. California clip blade. You get that nice swoop there. Coming to a fine point. I don't know how this sits in the well. Not an expensive knife, so I don't know what to really expect. Oh, it sits pretty well centered in that well. I'm actually kind of impressed there. Not the deepest carry pocket clip, not reversible. Again, acrylic scales on this one, see through, so you can see the Lucky Lady graphic on it. You got a pretty lady sitting on a what appears to be a bomb. Pretty neat, and only for $12. Got some jimping on the back. How's that lock? This one kind of surprised me. I just saw that it was a Lucky Lady, and I had to nab it. I knew nothing about this knife otherwise. I didn't know it was spring assisted. I knew it was a liner lock. Solid lockup on this. That's nice. Really nice, solid lock. Surprisingly fast. Again, I wasn't prepared. Pretty good spring on that assist. That's neat. This would be something. I don't know if I get I get these knives that to me look fantastic because I like the Lucky Lady on the side. I think they make a couple other designs. I'm not sure how many. But it's one of those that it's a very usable knife, but I kind of don't want to use it. This is something that I feel like I'd rather have some on, some type of display. But at the same time, looking at it with a liner, functional liner, very functional blade shape, quick and easy open, and a pocket clip. This is something that I could easily carry around with me. Although it does look like a longer than 3-inch blade. So I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. But otherwise, pretty neat little knife and only for $12. I cannot complain. I'm more impressed with it now than when I saw it on the table. Again, I saw him put it on the table. I just saw the Lucky Lady, saw the bomber, and I was like, that's mine. I really lucked out on this one. All right, so that one was from Appalachia, freeze-dried knives. I don't know what else I can say about it. Other than I know it's got to be a stainless steel blade. I just don't know what kind of stainless steel. It doesn't state anywhere on the blade. Assisted opening, California clip point, single thumb stud, non-reversible clip, and just a neat little blade. I like it. We'll put you back in the box. We've got about 3 other packages to go. I'm going to save 2 of them for last because I have a feeling I know what's there. And I'm very excited to open those last 2 knives. This next one that I'm going to open is from Blade Runner. And I believe this one from Blade Runner is a giveaway that I won. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm trying to remember the last time I know I bought stuff from Blade Runner before. Here's my knife. But again, I'm pretty sure this was a giveaway. Yeah, okay. Let's open this box up. Let's make sure I don't have a weird invoice sitting anywhere. Whoa, okay, a lot of paper. All the paper. Oh, there's the invoice. Okay, what do we have here? Yeah, this was a giveaway. That's a big giveaway. What's in here? Candy. I've got candy. I always love getting candy. Got some. Is this the sugar? Is this the stuff that's gonna make me poop, or is this the regular stuff? Gummy candy. No, this is the regular stuff. Okay, because there's like the the sugar free Haribo gummy bears. And from what I understood, the sugar-free stuff like really make you poop. So this is the regular gummy bears. I will be nomming on that later. I'm kind of wondering what the hell I won. Because this is a much bigger knife than I... Oh, there's a couple boxes here. What did I get? I got a lot of paper. Oh, totally love the gummy bears. Cool! I got a new i3T2 EOS flashlight with black and gold. Oh, that's cool. I like Olights. I never considered myself a collector of Olights, and then here I am with like a billion Olight flashlights. I still got a clip I haven't opened, like a clip flashlight from them I haven't opened. I have a few more i3T in different patterns I haven't opened. I think I had a purple, like a Halloween one and some other stuff. And this one's cool. Looks like a gold, almost like a phoenix on a black background. Sugar-free would not have been fun. Well, you do have to eat a lot of the sugar-free ones to make you feel poopy. But anyway, I don't think this is one of the rechargeable ones. I believe these use these use AAA batteries. But it's surprising how bright of a beam you can get with these off a AAA battery. I mean, they are bright. 200 meter throw, or a 200 lumen throw at 100 meters. And a single AAA will allow you to run that sucker for like 28 minutes. Oh no, 62 meter throw. I'm having a hard time reading these numbers. Maybe you guys can make more sense of it. But there's the stats on this flashlight. I do believe it does come with a AAA in there. But pretty cool. I like that. I like that pattern. I love how they have the clip too, so you can clip it 2 different ways. Yeah, it's the Phoenix. That's really nice. Yeah, I have a ton of Olights. I have Olights for my guns. I have Olight flat literally everywhere. I know there's at least 3 or 4 sitting on my desk. One of them's not even open. Like, oh, here it is. Like this one I've gotten a while ago. This one's not even open. And I forgot if I got this on a giveaway also. I haven't even opened that one yet. I have a bunch of their key ring ones. I don't know. Oops, there goes my desk. That use the AAAs as well. I think they were plain black. They're just handy as hell. You know, lights go out or it's dark. Grab. I just have to reach over and I find one, and it's there. Okay, what else was in the box? There was another box to it. Giveaway courtesy of Adam is all right. So this was a giveaway that was sponsored by somebody on Whatnot by the name of Adam is all right. Going by the sticker here. And I got a Savivi. Oh, this is going to be neat. Yes, I have an Olight account. Yeah, a lot of times you'll get the smaller ones for free. They do promotions all the time. They do sales all the time. A lot of times when I'll buy an Olight, they'll throw another Olight in there. So, I mean, if you buy one, you end up with a bunch. What did I... Oh, I got a baby banter? Ooh, I have one of these already, but no, what color is this one? I have one of these in a light blue. Tell me it's the same color. Oh, no. Oh, cool. Okay, we got the stickers. We got one of a billion microfiber cloths. I use these all the time. What kind of stickers do I have? I've got like a dozen of those stickers. Oh, this one has 2 of them. What's the other one? Got a Qubit and a Vision FG sticker. Oh no, that's not a Vision FG. I got a Qubit and a mini banter sticker. Nice. We'll close it. I've got a drawer full of these things, or a box full of these things, I should say. This is the mini banter. I actually have one of these already in blue aluminum. This one appears to be a natural or jade G10. They are small knives. The one I have, though, it's aluminum with a crossbar lock. This one doesn't appear to have a crossbar lock, so it's probably, yep, this one's a liner lock. Deep carry pocket clip. The pocket clip is reversible. No, it's not glow in the dark, I believe. It's just called a natural or jade G10. Dual thumb studs on this one. I'm trying to remember. I know it's under 2.5-inch blade. No, it's not glow in the dark. They call this natural. It's like uncolored G10. A lot of people call it, or Civivi calls it natural. A lot of people call it jade. And this one is a liner lock. Where's my I have a baby, I think it's called the Baby Banter 2 is what mine's called. That would be, I'm assuming that's the Baby Banter 1. And to show you the difference, where's my Baby Banter 2? There it is. Went and dug in the case. So this is the one that I've had. This one has non-coated blade, thumb studs, and this one has a crossbar lock to it. The scales on this one are micro milled aluminum. Well, I don't know what you call that, micro milled. Aluminum scales. There you go. So similar to what I just got for the giveaway, except again the crossbar lock and aluminum scales on that. But they're really awesome knives because the size. Now I do live in a state where blade length is restricted. So one of the reasons why I got this one in particular was because it did have a blade length that fit under a 2.5-inch length. Because while I normally stick with knives that are roughly around 3 inches, there are some places that restrict the blade length further to 2.5 inches or less. And this is one of those knives that fit the bill if I ever find myself going to a place where they're highly restricted. I can still carry something like this and be perfectly fine. Really deep or really nicely sized finger choil here for really fine control of the blade. Got some jimping on the back there. It's a drop point blade, almost leaf shaped. Again, this one is a liner lock. Hold on a second. Let me put my other banter away. There we go. And let's see. Solid blade in every direction. Easy to manipulate liner lock, which is something I really appreciate because a lot of times, I'm going to be honest, liner locks and Civivis have not been my favorite because a lot of times they don't give you a lot of room to manipulate that liner lock. And a lot of the liner locks that I've had from them, I have to dig my nail in to get into that liner lock. This one, I've got enough relief on that scale so I can just use the pad of my thumb. I don't have to dig my nail in anywhere to release the blade. Although it's got a small profile, it's a small knife. With that finger choil, I can actually get a full grip on this one with my pinky without my pinky falling off the edge there. So nice neutral, decent sized grip where it's nice and comfortable. If I don't use that finger choil and I back my hand off, I do lose purchase with my pinky and it ends up sitting at the bottom of that scale, but still pretty comfortable regardless. I actually like to use them like this when I'm cutting open packages or boxes. Um, but really cool little knife, especially if you want something super compact, or you live in a place where blade length is restricted. I'm trying to think of what kind of steel this one is. I don't know what their baby banters came in. I believe it was a 14C or Nitro V. Where do I have it? Hold on a second. Nothing on this side of the blade. Oh, okay. This one is Nitro V, and this is the designer's logo. I can't remember the name of the designer, to be quite honest. I believe, actually, this is the funny thing. This is the knife that's on my mat. Huh. Was it Naps that did this? Huh. I don't know. Yeah, this is the knife that's actually on the mat here. This is a baby banter. So this is the actual knife that's on my mat. But pretty cool little blade. Awesome. Awesome. I like that I got this, especially on a giveaway. So I don't even have to pay a darn thing for this one. Nitro V steel. Nice secure liner lock. G10 scales. Nice and grippy. Don't feel slick. Full steel liners that are in there, and they're surrounded by the G10 scales. So it's nice, smooth, and comfortable rounded edges. Sitting closed. Ben Peterson, thank you. Yes, Nafs. I forgot his name. Yeah, you can dye these things. If I understand. I probably won't. I never dyed one. I don't want to mess things up. Blade looks to be perfectly centered in there when closed, so that's always good to see. I love that. It feels a good deal grippier than even the aluminum one that I already own is. And that's really smooth. That's a very smooth action on that blade. Why am I not focusing? There we go. Really smooth action on that blade. I'm keeping this one. I love it. That was an awesome giveaway. Thank you. The Blade Runner? I already forgot who I got this from. Yeah, Blade Runner. Thank you, Blade Runner. Thank you. Adam is all right. What was his name? Yep, Adam is all right. Thank you so much for that giveaway. We're going to go ahead and put this back in here for now. Although that is going to definitely go into my collection case. I did get a new collection case. I had to buy a new one because I was running out of space. So if you're wondering what kind of cases I use to carry my stuff around or store them, Casematics, this is upside down. I haven't even removed the protective plastic on this one yet. I recently got this. I recently got this. I think I got it just this week. Waterproof, sealed. I haven't even opened up the foam on there. This one holds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5. 40 knives. So this case holds 40 knives. I forgot how much this case was. I'd like to say it's a little under $60. But if you want to check the Casematics pocket knife case out, I should have a link down there. Let me check. I should have a link in the description for one of these Casematics, either this size or the larger size. I might have both of them down there, but I will be filling this one up very soon. If in case anybody is wondering what kind of cases I like to use, they will hold up to 5-inch pocket knives folded. So as long as your pocket knife is 5 inches or less, it'll hold it. I think it gives a little bit of leeway. So if it's a little hair over 5 inches, I don't think it's a problem. And also, if you have a really small knife like that baby banter we just saw, when you pull out the foam blocks, you can actually cut those blocks and stick a portion back in if you need a little bit smaller compartment to put a smaller knife in. So it's not just like sunk all the way in and you have a hard time getting to it. So that's a nice, neat thing with those cases that I really, really like. Add a little dye to a hot cup of water and let the knife sit till you get the desired color you want. Rinse, dry, and lubricate. You know what? I might give that a shot. The thing is if I do that, I'll want to get another knife to test it out. Because I wouldn't want to be like, my only baby banter with naked G10s or natural G10s and ended up making it look like poop. So, because I do like the jade look. I'm not gonna lie, I have a few jade knives that I do like the look of. So I have nothing against it. I have nothing against the natural. But that would be something interesting to try. Okay, so we've got 2 more. These packages are the ones that I've been kind of stressing over. In fact, there's supposed to be a 3rd package. However, that package headed towards my direction and then decided it wanted to go sightseeing and then headed for the West Coast. I'm in the Midwest. Okay, I'm smack dab in the middle. I'm in Illinois. And for some odd reason, it made it almost to my state and then decided to go visit Arizona. I don't know why that package went to visit Arizona. And now it's, as far as I can tell, it's headed back in my direction. So unfortunately, it didn't make its way here today. So that kind of sucks. However, I do have 2 knives that I got, and they're all from Going Gear. Okay. And these were the knives that I've been stressing over. I'm going to open both these packages because I want to open them in a specific order. I want to see. I don't know which package is which is something I should have thought about. Okay. Now, both of these are going to be from Remet. Oh, and they're in their fancy Remet boxes. That's one. Hold on. Which one is... Oh, I got... Hold on. Candy! Oh, wait. What is this? Oh, it's Double Bubble. The stuff that breaks you. Okay. Well, got some Double Bubble. Which one was that one? This one is the... Okay. That's that. I think that's the knife I'm going to show first. And then this one should... Oh, my God. I almost dropped my knife on my thigh. That would have been bad. This one, also a Remet, also in their fancy box, is, and more gum. Oh, that went and hit the floor. Is that what I think it is? Please tell me this is what I think it is. You are not going to tell me what I think you are. God damn it. Okay, I got an idea, though. All right, so we got 2 new Remets here. And like I said, these were the 2 that I was stressing over because these 2 are probably now considered. Now, I try not to, like, I have a weird thing with really expensive knives. To me, an expensive knife is roughly around $100. To me, that's really expensive. The most expensive knife I have is an automatic by Tecto, which I think retailed for about $250. That's the most expensive knife I've ever bought in my life. These are now probably the most expensive knives. And expensive doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's just, you know, the fact that these knives were knives that I was willing to go like, oh, I know that's a high number, but we want anyway. These 2 are probably the most expensive knives in my collection to date. Like, I don't think I'll ever get myself a $500 knife because at $500, I'd rather get myself a new handgun. I'll be honest. I can get a gun for $500. This one from Remet. They're both from Remet. Let's open this one first. And I'll be doing individual, more detailed look videos at these later this week. We get a taco pouch. Nothing else in the box. Okay. We'll close that up for now. And I'll just put the sleeve on so I know where it's at. They come in a taco pouch. And this one, we got the microfiber cleaning cloth. This is called, let me make sure I get this name right, the Remet RT Meteor. And this one, how much did I pay for this? You gonna tell me? Do I want to know? Or did I ask for the congrats you want to give away receipt? I might have done that. I believe this was just under $200. This is the Remet Meteor, done in a copper carbon fiber, copper infused carbon fiber handle with a titanium, I believe, bolster. And you've got dual thumb studs for deployment. You've got somebody's eyebrow hair or fuzz. I don't know what that was. Dual thumb studs for deployment. It is a frame lock. And your most expensive knife was a giveaway? No kid. Oh, a Concept Raven. Oh, no way. A Blade HQ giveaway? That's awesome. I I can't remember last time I got anything from Blade HQ, or at least won anything. I know I've got a knife coming from them, but it won't get here until next week. Again, this is copper foil infused carbon fiber, dual thumb studs, frame lock, titanium bolster, pocket clip. The pocket clip might be reversible. I don't believe it is. No, I don't think that. Yeah, the pocket clip on this one is not reversible. And you've got, along with the thumb studs, you have appears to be a front flipper. See the front flipper first. Okay, not the easiest for me to use. It's going to take some getting used to. Let's try the thumb studs. Much snappier with the thumb studs. And while I have this open, let's check the blades. Or the blade. No movement on that blade. Nice and solid frame lock on this. We have a drop point blade. I believe this is S35. Oh, no, scratch that. Spoke too soon. This is M390 steel. So we got M390 steel done in satin and bead blasted. I believe this is a hollow ground. Yes. It is a hollow ground blade drop point, making this one nice and slicey. You got a bit of a finger, or a bit of a sharpening choil here. Not so much a finger choil. Very comfortable grip. Full gorilla grip without a problem. A little bit of jimping in the back. Nice slicey looking blade. Finished well. I don't feel any burrs so far. No burrs. But the thing I liked about this one, or the thing I was really interested about this one, is like I said, it's a frame lock. Just like any other frame lock. You push it over like a liner or frame lock, and then you can close the blade. That's a really smooth feeling blade when I was closing that. And you do have pretty easy access to the frame lock. They give a decent enough cutout. I'm not having to dig my nail in to actuate that frame lock. But the cool thing about this one is if you don't want to get your finger in front of that blade, you can use this button. And this button serves the same purpose. You can see the button through the scales there in the back, and just press the button and it'll move that frame lock out of the way. As you can see, I'll do a close-up of that. You can see when I press the button, it moves the frame lock out of the way, and you can close it thusly. So you've got two ways really to manipulate this close, either just using your thumb to move the frame lock if that's what you're used to, or you can use the button to do the same thing. And you can also use the button to snap the blade open as well. And very satisfying click when this opens up. That was really loud. I actually like that. It just feels satisfying when it locks up like that. And it feels very secure. There is an insert on the frame lock to reinforce that. And I think that same insert also helps keep. Oh no, you got the scale here, prevents the frame from really moving too far when you open or when you manipulate it. Very smooth feeling blade. So you got the security of a frame lock with the ease of use of that button. Takes a little bit of timing because I'm having the blade bounce out, but that's me. So that's really cool. Let's see how the blade is. Perfectly centered in there. That looks nice. We got a pretty decent backliner back here with a lanyard hole. I'm going to test this out. And I'm loving that carbon copper fiber. This thing is cool. I love the look. I got another remet that was the collaboration between Blade City and remet, and it was their wild species, and the scale came entirely in the similar copper carbon fiber, and I just thought it looked absolutely beautiful. And I saw this in the copper carbon fiber, and that's the color that I just had to have. I know this comes in a lot of different colorways. There's like a green, like I forgot what they call it, but it was like a not. It didn't glow in the dark, but it was a very green, like toxic looking color, like a neon greenish color. They had other types of like I'd like to say like not Damascus, but like a giant a Gmascus in different color, like a G10, just different colors melded together. This was the one that I just had to get because of the copper infused. The blade, again, this is out of the box. Just open this sucker. Oh, that is smooth. I love using magazine paper because the way it feels and what I hear can tell me a lot about the edge. Nice, crisp edges on the paper. It's a thing when you run a knife through paper like this. Oops, now I'm just tearing. There we go. When you run a knife through paper like this, I already hit a tear, and you barely feel it going through, and it ends up coming through it whisper quiet. Oh, that's what I did. I hit the choil, I think. I'm trying to see if there's a dull spot I thought I hit, or it's because I'm tearing the paper already. That felt really, really smooth through that magazine paper. I'm gonna try that again. I just want to make sure it's not me doing something stupid. No, that feels nice and smooth. I am hitting something. I just want to make sure I'm not hitting like a weird spot on this edge. The edge looks pretty well done. Okay. I'm not feeling that weird spot anymore. It's gone. Just a very minute amount of paper fibers on the edge of that blade, but that seems super sharp. I like it. That was going through that really smooth sounding, really smooth feeling. I don't know why I threw that paper on the floor when I have a garbage can next to me. Ah, get in there. There we go. But really neat blade from Ramet. Again, I believe I'm going to take a look at this one again. Hurry back, Morgan. Let me look this one up just so I can make sure I got an accurate price on this one. Now, I know when I hunt these down on auction at whatnot, um, if it wasn't for the fact that I was able to get a good deal, admittedly, I probably wouldn't have hit for it. Okay, on Ramet's website, this very same model is going for $242. And I know I didn't pay that. Let's see if this is available anywhere else. And according to Ramet on their website, that $242.90 is a markdown from $280. So I don't know if that's an internal sale or if that's the actual price that they always let them go at. I'm going to check a few other websites just to see. We'll take a look at Blade HQ and we'll take a look at Knife Center. I'm seeing the same one for $235, or no, similar, different colorway. Do they have the copper? See a carbon fiber. Oddly enough, I'm not seeing the copper on Blade HQ. Let's see what Knife Center has. Knife Center, they're going for about 278.50, if not around 283. Okay, so this one on Knife Center is 282.90. They don't have this one on Blade HQ from what I can see. So Blade HQ is running a little less at 235. The copper is running a little bit more expensive. I will tell you, when I got mine, I believe I got it for about 200. So I got it at a really nice discount. But yeah, nearly $300 knife. Or if you go buy the Blade HQ or Knife Center ones, a little better at 282 or 235. Again, this one is not at Blade HQ, so I don't know what cost Blade HQ would have for the copper carbon fiber. My guess it would be a little bit more, probably closer to 250, 260 on Blade HQ if that was available there. Again, Knife Center is running theirs at a little higher at 282 or $283 roughly. But that would roughly make this probably one of the most expensive knives I have in my collection. And with good reason. I think it's an absolutely beautiful knife. And I love how the frame lock and the button lock work on this. And very smooth action. I love the blade style, the drop point. You got a good bit of swedging on the back here, the two-tone. You got the bead blasted and the satin. Love the smooth action of that blade. Nice and quick. My biggest complaint, my only real complaint on this one is probably that top flipper is a little harder to use. It's going to take a little getting used to because it's weird. It's kind of jutting out a little bit farther than a lot of the other front flippers that I tend to fiddle around with. But with a little practice, I can see I'm getting a little better at just using that nice snap on that one. There we go. Yeah, just took a little getting used to with that flipper shape. But nice solid lockup, beautiful lines, nice and clean. Love that scale. I cannot get enough of this copper scale. And titanium bolsters on this one. Awesome. Awesome knife. Now the other one that we're going to go and show you, this is going to be the last knife that I'm unboxing today. The last new knife I got. Let me go ahead and put this one away. And then I've got another thing to show you, actually, that's knife related, but not actually a knife. And it kind of already is unboxed. But we're going to save that for last. So we're going to put this one back in here for now. I'm going to re-go over all these knives at some point, I'm sure. Oil them, maybe hone, if any of them need honing, cleaning, and then in the collection they will go. Awesome knife from Remet. Like I said, Remet's been freaking super cool. Their knives have been blowing me away lately. Also from Remet, also in one of their fancy boxes, this one. And this is the one I've been waiting for. This is the Remet RT. Let me open the website here real quick so I'm not talking out of my ass. So this time I'm going to look up the website before I open the box. I can't remember what color I got in this one. Oh, I remember now. Aha. Okay. Again, we got the taco. We'll close this box. And this one, oof. Actually, this one will be by far the most expensive knife I think I have in my collection compared to anything else that I have there. And the funny thing is, I didn't pay nearly that price. There's again another reason why I love hunting around and whatnot. Now, sometimes, yeah, you can pay a little over if you're not careful, but in this case, I think I got some really awesome deals. Here we got the pouch. We got the carbon fiber cleaning cloth. And what we have here is the Remet RT Saker Falcon. Now they do have a few different colors in this one. This one is a carbon fiber flake and purple scales, titanium, and we also have, I believe this is a lightning, that lightning strike, like my concept was, accent around the pivot. This one it is a frame lock. You've got a titanium pocket clip and a rear flipper and thumb holes for deployment. Now, this is your favorite new. Hey, Matt, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I lucked out on this one. We're just going to go right off the bat. This one, now, if we're going by Blade HQ, this one is currently on Blade HQ in this specific color for $285. They come in this black and purple. You have a black and like a neon green or yellow, actually, I think. It's either green or yellow. And then you have this in a black and blue. The black and blue tends to sell out the most. I like the purple, personally. Let's see here. Yeah, all the colorways that you have on this one, $285 on Blade HQ. Let's see if they have it anywhere else, and if the costs change on Remet's website themselves. They listed it at $336 and then discounted to $285. So again, $285. Does Knife Center have these? Knife Center also at $285. So far, 3 places where I've looked, about $285 for this knife. Where is it? This is another reason why I like doing auctions. I nabbed this one at $208. So just over, or just under, I should say, $80 off on this one. Now, before we do any opening and flipping, let's take a closer look at this. So far closed. We'll look at that right away. Perfectly centered blade, always awesome to see. Nice pocket clip there. Not reversible that I can see. Very beautiful scale or inlay with that purple and black. And the lightning strike, is it lightning strike? Is that Timascus? I couldn't be flubbing this a lot. That accent around the pivot. It's a lightning strike, but I can't remember the rest of the name of it. And it bugs the heck out of me because I have a concept knife that's done fully in that same that same coating, or what, that same style. I have a concept like that, a mini cryo. Yeah, carbon fiber inlays, entropic anodized pivot collar. Okay, they call it an entropic anodized pivot collar. Okay, hold on. Where's my... Nope. Yep. Here's my concept mini cryo. My concept has a lot more like orange and red to it than it does blue. I should look at this side. Yeah, no, it looks about the same type of anodized coating as my mini cryo. Okay, I just had to relook. And let's see, let me put that back. That goes back in the case. Now, measurements on this one. I didn't do measurements on the other one, but measurements on this one, we have a blade length on this of 3 inches, closed length 4.25 inches, overall length 7.35 when open. This also, like the last Remet, is M390 steel for the blade, and it's going to be a shape that it's not my favorite shape. It's a Tonto style blade. Not my favorite because sharpening tends to be kind of like irritating for me. But I'll deal with it. Compound blade grind, and we'll look at that as soon as I open this one, with a satin blade finish. The titanium scales are sandblasted, and in this case, black and purple with entropic anodized pivot collar, as they call it, frame lock, and sandblasted titanium pocket clip, weighing about 4.23 ounces. Okay, all the technical stuff out of the way. Let's check this out. So we got a rear flipper, and we got a nice, generous looking thumb hole. Let's do the Spidey flick. Okay. It's always weird when I try to do a Spidey flick on something that has a frame lock. Sometimes, if I don't hold it right and I don't think about it, I actually apply too much pressure to that frame lock, and I feel like I lock the blade in place and then can't open it. There we go. That was smooth, though. That felt really smooth. Let's close the blade. I'm going to try the rear flipper. My nail's been getting hammered, but we'll try this anyway. That is quick. Real nice and quick deployment. Very smooth blade movement. Like said before, Tonto style blade. This is why I'm not the most fond of Tontos, because I admit when I have to sharpen them, it's like having to sharpen two different knives because you have a secondary point here. And you got to be really careful that you don't have this, as you're sharpening, have this point start migrating in one direction or another. And so to me, it's a more intensive sharpening process because you're trying to be careful to keep that point where it's at. But it is a compound grind, meaning we have the belly of this blade is going to be a hollow grind, and then you can see the transition where the very tip of the blade then becomes a flat grind, adding to more strength to the tip. And having the belly here as a hollow grind makes that belly nice and slicey. And one thing that I noticed that I don't think I noticed before is this blade shape is really interesting. Because if it wasn't for the fact that they call it a Tonto, and if this point, the secondary point wasn't there, I could almost call this like a harpoon. Because that point right back here where the swedging is. And the other thing that I didn't notice was if you look really closely, that's not a flat edge. It's almost a bit of a recurve, like a super minute recurve on this one. I like, okay, don't get me wrong. When it comes to Tontos, I think they're actually really neat. Except since I do my own sharpening, I hate to sharpen Tontos. I like Tontos because I think they're cool. I think they're really neat. I just don't like to have to sharpen them. Because, like I said, I get nervous when it comes to sharpening that area right here, where that secondary point is. Because if you don't do it right, and you take too much off the belly, or you take too much off the point, that secondary point starts to move around on the blade. It might start shifting down here more, it might start shifting up here more, and it's like one of those things. It's like, I don't want it to deal with. But otherwise, as far as the blade itself, I actually don't mind Tontos. I don't mind using them. I actually like them. Just don't like sharpening them. So that's where my problem with Tontos lies. I just don't like to sharpen them. But there we go with the blade. M390, a good amount of jimping here. A nice little spot to kind of rest your thumb too. Get a little better purchase on that blade. Did I check movement? Should be nice and solid. Yes, nice and solid. No movement on the blade, left or right, up or down. Nice solid lock on that one. And just a really cool looking blade to it. And I like that thumb hole. Now, the thing that makes this one interesting, and I'm sure a lot of you already know about this, or at least those familiar with the Sacred Falcon, is, like I said, it's a frame lock. However, now you do have a nice generous generation. You have a nice generous cutout, so I don't have to dig my nail in to utilize that frame lock. Okay, I just have to put my, just use the pad of my thumb, and it's easy, really easy to disengage. So you don't have to worry about digging your nail in, ruining your thumbnail like mine is, to get access to that. However, if just like the last one that had a button lock or a button to actuate that frame lock, this one has a button as well. Except this one is at the pivot. If you press down on this pivot here, you can see it move that frame lock out of the way to unlock the blade. And again, just like the button on the last one, you can use that to also flick open the blade. If I'm not messing it up because I'm busy looking at my screen, you can use that to open the blade as well. So I thought that was just another, like, again, like I said, I like unique ideas when it comes to unlocking blades. And then this has a third feature that I thought was really neat. So we have the pivot lock or button to actuate that frame lock. But once it's open, we also have another little switch over here. And when it's down in this position, you know, the knife acts just like any other flipper knife that I have. Okay, easy to actuate, very smooth action. This is gonna be another fidgety knife. It's gonna be another very fidgety knife. However, if I need to, once I've had the knife opened, I can push this switch up, and now that locks that frame lock in place, and you can't move it. You can't use your thumb. The button won't do anything. That effectively fixes the blade. Like, it's not really a fixed blade, but it effectively fixes the blade in place. So that way now you can't accidentally hit that button and drop the blade. You can't accidentally press on this frame lock. It locks the blade in place. It's not going to move. Nice and solid. Again, with that in place, no movement that I can tell. No movement, not even a slight click or anything on that. And then to unlock the blade, simply move that switch down, and then I can use my thumb on the frame lock, use my thumb on the button lock, and then close the blade like usual. Again, the thumb hole feels pretty generous. Let me use my thumb. There we go. I found on some thumb holes, when those thumb holes start getting smaller, they get kind of annoying because it starts to become a chore to get my thumb in there to be able to manipulate the blade. And when they get too small, it starts getting really, really annoying. And same with when it comes to spidey flicking. When the thumb holes are really small, oh, you know what I did? Oh, I see why I can open it. I hit that switch. Does that lock it in place closed too? Hold on. I wonder if that's what was doing it. It has a really strong detent. Reminds me of my, God dang it, reminds me of my mini cryo, the one that I pulled out. I'm going to ruin this nail. Oh my God, I'm going to ruin this nail. Let's try that again. It's a really strong detent. I can't spidey flick. I'm just going to dig a hole in my nail. Yeah, that's a really strong detent. I think part of it is I'm still getting, like, my problem with the mini cryo when I was trying to spidey flick it the first time is I wasn't conscious of where I was holding it. And let me pull it out again. I realized when I was trying to spidey flick this thing, or even just open it with a thumb hole, you notice where my finger is? My finger is sitting right on top of the frame lock. And so when I'm not thinking about it and I'm squeezing down to grip the blade just slightly, I'm not like death gripping it, but you know, you squeeze down a little to have a good grip on the blade, and then I try to manipulate the blade. I'm like locking it in place. I'm making that detent really strong without thinking about it. And I had to be really conscious of where my finger was in order to be able to manipulate the blade the way I wanted to. Because I was trying to figure out why can't I open this blade? And I was like, oh, it's because I'm effectively locking it closed. And I think I was doing the same thing with this one. Because when I was opening it, it was a really smooth open, especially with that back flipper. And I think I caught myself like right here. I caught myself holding the blade or holding the frame lock right there. And I think I'm just producing a little too much pressure on that blade. Or that detent is just super strong. That is a strong detent. So I don't know how effectively I'll be able to Spidey flick. I did it a few times. Yeah, I'm having trouble Spidey flicking this one. I don't know what it is. I'm shaving pieces of my nail off. The rear flipper works perfectly fine. And obviously the button works really well. My timing's a little off, but the button works really well. But that is a pretty strong detent. Hold on a second. Yeah, that is a nice, strong detent on this. I'm going to try something that I sometimes do with other knives. I'm trying to see if this blade will fall the hell out. I'm hitting my wrist against my other wrist. Try to snap the blade out. I want to see if the blade falls. Not even a smidgen of movement. That thing's in there. Oh, there we go. And that hurt. I had to hit it hard to knock that blade out. Ugh, God damn. Okay, so that's a really strong detent. Don't take the blade coming out to be any indication of weakness. I'm smacking the hell out of it. More so than I can see anybody rightfully doing, even possibly on accident. That is a strong detent on that blade. So that's actually really nice. But again, very smooth feeling. I mean, that thing just glides. And I'm trying to see, we got an insert and the frame lock for added strength. Appears like the insert and part of the scales will help keep that frame from over traveling too. And I can see how that locking mechanism works. So this slides a little bar behind the frame, preventing that frame from moving and effectively locking that blade in place. So that's how that works. Yeah, I wouldn't I wouldn't take that as me knocking the blade out as a negative, because I was smacking my wrist really hard. That was pretty impressive in terms of detent strength. I just wish it was a little less, because it does make reverse flicking or Spidey flicking this knife a lot harder. I'm able to do it still, but it does make it a bit tougher to do. There's one thing I could possibly do to maybe help that along. And you know what? I forgot to do it with the other knives. I'm going to end up having to do that later. One thing I always do with every knife is I add a little bit of oil. In this case, I'm using KPL or knife pivot lube. And I do this with every knife. I don't care how great it feels. I do this more as a way to protect the knife from excess wear, because I'll put a little bit of oil on the pivot. That's a wear point. You always got metal parts rubbing up against metal parts. And so I always add a drop to either side. And while I don't think this will change really the fact that it moves so smoothly, I wonder if it'll just make it a little easier. Just Spidey flick that. And nope. Well, let's work that oil in a little bit. That is a strong detent. Yeah, I wish it was a little less. Really? Okay, now it doesn't want to come out. But the rear flipper works perfectly fine. This is one of those things also that I wonder if that will loosen up in time. Because one thing about knives new out of the box is sometimes they have to be worked a little bit. It's kind of like a break-in period. And I'm wondering if that's all this needs, is a little break-in period to make that easier. Because I had the same issue with that cryo that I showed you earlier. Oh, right here. After I fiddled with this, and I would sit here and fidget with a knife and just keep using it and using it and, fiddling with it, fidgeting with it. Eventually it just became like nothing. Like now I don't have a problem at all manipulating the cryo with a Spidey flick. Whereas when I first got that mini cryo, I mean, it was just as hard to get us to Spidey flick this one as this one's being right, as the Saker's being right now. So I think if I were to just sit here and fidget with it, it'll probably break in to the point of where it'll become a non-issue. At least that's my thought. Oh, I was wondering why that wasn't working. I realized I had my finger behind the rear flipper. Very satisfying click to this one too. Let's see how this blade is, because we haven't cut anything with this. Let me put this out of the way. Because this cryo was just as difficult to open before when I first got it. Always brings a smile to my face when I'm cutting through this paper, and it's sharper than that last one. This one's smoother than the what was the Meteor. I'm trying to see if I can. I want to try to bevel the paper. Yeah, I can bevel it pretty well. Like actually bevel the paper. A little bit of tearing, and generally it looks like it starts to do a little bit of tearing right when I get to that secondary point. But otherwise, the edge is super sharp. It's only when I get to that point where it's like hiccups a little bit, and then again, it's super sharp right at the tip. Let me toss that out. Try something here, because that one felt even smoother than the Meteor in terms of sharpness. Whoa. Okay. Got to be a little careful there. Almost cut through that. Yeah. I can shave with it. I don't know if you can see the little hairs on that or not. It's too much light. That is shaving sharp. I could shave with this if I wanted to. Yeah, the only thing... Okay, so in terms of the beautiful knife, I love how I have the pivot button to move that lock. I love how not only do you have the pivot, the button, but I love how they have it so that way you can still push the frame lock off to the side. You don't have to use the button. Very smooth action on the blade. My only real complaints on this one is that it's very difficult to spider flick. I think it just, again, that's one of those things where I think it just needs to break in. There we go. Because once I get it moving, it's super smooth. It's seriously just that detent is really strong. And I need to be a little bit more conscious of how I'm holding it when I'm manipulating the lock or the pivot to open or close. Because I noticed if I hold it a certain way, like if I have my finger behind where the rear flipper is, that hinders the blade movement. Obviously, the flipper can't move down, my finger's in the way, and then I'm wondering, why isn't this going anywhere? It's because it's not. My finger's in the way. So if I make sure that I'm pinching like this, I don't have my fingers in the way, I can flick it out without a problem. Again, very satisfying sound to it, open and close. Really nice snap. I think it's one of those where I'm just going to have to continue manipulating this, and I think that detent will smooth out over time like the mini cryo did, because the mini cryo was just as difficult, if not more so. I remember at first, like, is there something wrong with mine? Do I need to return it and get another one? And I was sitting there just manipulating this using the rear flipper for, web surfing, watching videos on the computer. And eventually it got to the point of where it's now very easy for me to to reverse flick it. And it's not like the detent got any weaker. The detent is still actually nice and strong on the blade. It just smoothed out, and I'm able to do that now. Whereas before, I was sitting here and like, why can't I get it to work? And now it's nice and smooth, nice and quick, and I can spidey flick this uh, throughout the entire day without any problem. So I think that's going to be about the same thing with this one. I'm just going to play around with it and run it for a while as I'm watching videos and just, work it through. And it'll probably get again to the same point of where that'll become a complete non-issue. It's again really nice and smooth, really quick. I'm trying to see if there's a point, like if I have to do a certain amount of pressure or if it's just going to pop, even though I just press it a little bit. I know sometimes if I use light pressure, it won't open all the way, but the detent kind of forces me to really snap it open. Otherwise, beautiful knife. I like the action. The blade is nice and sharp. I'm trying to see if there's any, like, I'm not seeing any tool marks, no, nothing. I'm a little bit more critical of this one simply because of I know how much this could run. Again, this is probably the most expensive knife I have in my collection, even though I got a very sizable discount to it. So yeah, I know I'm going to be a lot more critical of this and checking, fit, finish, and how this continues to break in. That was easy enough. So I'll be doing a deeper video on this one probably sometime this week, and we'll see where I'm at after I've had and spent some time manipulating this blade. Oh, I wasn't kidding about how loud the snap can be on this one. Now, I suffer from a bad amount of tinnitus, but this is now the third knife that'll do it. I have 3 knives that have such a good snap to them when they lock that sometimes they'll make my ear ring, and that did it on one of those snaps. It's just such a loud click that it just all I heard was ringing in my left ear. I'll get the timing down on this button eventually. Really pretty blade. No weird tool. Actually, they have, yeah, okay, so they do have Remet etched on one side of the blade. I don't see, usually they mark down the steel on the other, or at some other point. And oddly enough, I'm not seeing them marking the M390 anywhere else on the blade unless I completely missed it. Nope. I am not seeing it. Yeah, that is a very strong detent. Huh, interesting. M390 steel, but they don't mark it down. Yeah, I'm not seeing it anywhere on that. I do love that lock. That's really cool. Very happy with this one. Just need to work it a little bit. It's actually already getting easier, because I know I even had trouble using the thumb hole with my thumb, but now, oh, I spoke too soon. Yeah, it's going to need a little bit of breaking in, I think. Sometimes I can get it, and then sometimes it's like, nope, doesn't want to move. There we go. All right, so that's the Remet Saker Falcon. Is it Saker Falcon or just Saker? Saker Falcon. Yeah, RT. Oops, dropped my oil. Yeah, the Remet RT Saker Falcon. Again, they come in a blue and carbon fiber. I got the purple and carbon fiber, and I've seen it said yellow or green. Either or. It's either a yellow or a green carbon fiber. Really awesome blade, if I can just break it in. I'm not too worried about it because the rear flipper works really well. I just wish it was easier for me to overcome that detent for the Spidey flick. But I'm sure that'll soften up and probably be much easier to use as I fiddle with it. But that is really cool. Probably, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is definitely my favorite knife I've opened out of the bunch that I've had this week. This was the one that I was nervous about getting because cost and fear of being disappointed. And I'll tell you right now, I am not disappointed at all. Not in the least bit. But I've still got one more thing to show you. You'd prefer the blue? I like the purple. Mainly because it's like I said, I've had a lot of black knives. I've had a lot of a tremendous amount of green knives. I'm at the point where I like to see something different and something unique, which is why I like that copper carbon fiber so much. Which is why I gravitated to the purple. The blue was really nice. Don't get me wrong. The blue was actually really nice. But the purple just caught my eye, and I really liked it. The black carbon fiber. I think the yellow or the green was a little too off for me on that one. If this had come in a copper carbon fiber, I would have snatched that up without hesitation. That wouldn't have even been a question. I would have been like, oh, that one's mine. So I will do another video of that one at some point after I spent some time fiddling with it and playing around with it and see how it is after a few days of playing around with that lock. And we'll see how it is then. And I don't know why he keeps this one out. This is one of my favorite knives. With good reason. The next one, okay, this one's already been unboxed. Now, this one's not a knife. But this is something that I've been eager to get, eager to try. It is knife related, though. I just realized I'm really thirsty. One thing that I like doing is I like practicing and sharpening my knives. And lately, what I normally use or normally do is freehand sharpening, where you have your in my case, I like to use diamond plates. And so I'll have a diamond plate and freehand sharpen my blades. And to be quite honest, from everything that I've been told and everything that I've been taught, and with learning how to sharpen my blades freehand, that's really the best method for getting probably the sharpest edges you can ever get. The thing is, it takes a good deal of practice, a good deal of time, because you need consistency, being able to lock your wrists so you're not rolling or moving the blade up and down as you're cutting it across that diamond stone. And it takes a great deal of patience. You can sharpen a knife freehand very quickly. but that does take a lot of practice to do. A lot of practice, a lot of consistent practice. But I've been seeing these other sharpening methods that have recently caught my eye, and all in an effort to make things a little bit easier. And so what I picked up was this. This is the Work Sharp Precision Adjust Sharpener. Now they have a few different models of this one. I went with this one, runs for about $70 on this. They have another version that runs about 130 that contains a few more sharpening plates. If I wanted to, now I went for the $70 version because I wanted to see how this was first. And then I could actually buy those other plates separately. I think they run for about like $70 or so to get. And then basically what I would have would be that professional one. I just bought the parts separately. And I think it'll be a little bit more expensive overall, but I didn't want to grab this, realize I hate it. I don't want to spend 130, realize I hate it. Now I'm stuck with a $130 system. So I went with a $70 one to try this out. Now I haven't opened this up yet because this one actually just came in today. But the way this works, from what I've seen in every video, is first of all, you got to get it out of the box. God dang it. There we go. Now, the way this works, it's a tabletop, and what it does is it allows you to set a very specific angle to sharpen your blade at. And usually that'll vary between 15 to close to 20 degrees, depending on the type of knife that you were sharpening, the type of edge that you want. And it has a clamp to hold your blade in place. And it also will rotate, so as you're sharpening one side, you can just flip it over. You don't have to remove it from the clamp, and you can continue sharpening your blade. Now, I guess we're gonna go ahead and put this together live. I don't know if I have a knife to sharpen, but we're gonna at least put this thing together. So Elite and Upgrade Kit. I've got the regular kit. How do I do the things that allow me to do the things? Okay, well, I was never very good at following instructions anyway. Let's see here. We've got, I'm presuming this is the base. Okay, we've got, this would be where the clamp, and then this should sit in the base. Does this normally, oh! So if I keep the box and I am deciding I want to travel somewhere with this, I can actually take it apart. It's not a permanent, you've put it together and now it's staying like that forever. If I can put it together without breaking it. Okay, there we go. That snaps into place. So we got the base. I'll turn it this way so we can look. We've got the adjustable part, whatever you want to call it. And then we have the clamp. This, what does this say? You will be creating incredibly sharp knives. Please handle with care. I hope so. Would like to. That's my plan anyway. Now this, is that magnets? Oh, wow. That is not what I expected. I did not expect it to be like, I thought I was going to be like screwing things together and, I don't know, just using power tools to put this together. I did not expect it to be this easy where I just snap that onto the base and then this just magnetically slots in. And so I can remove that at any time. There's a wheel here. This loosens and tightens the clamp. There we go. And the clamp itself has some soft padding so you don't mar up your blade when it's clamped down on it. That's pretty cool. And like I was saying before, this should, I don't know how this works. I don't want to break anything. This maybe there's a lever. What's this? Oh, that's the tab. How does this flip around? I'm kind of curious. if this just flips, or do I have to remove it? Or am I just being stupid? How does this work? I don't want to break nothing. Okay, so that clamps. Or do I have to remove it? Does that flip or not? Oh, I'm stupid. That does not, it doesn't just rotate. So you clamp your blade in. Okay. And once your blade's in, once you're done with one side, flip it over, and then it's on. Okay, so it doesn't spin. I've seen some where they actually just spin. You don't have to remove. Okay, so that's not that bad. And then we have the stones. Now the stones that they have, it's like a tri-stone. So we have a, let's see here. How does this work? We have a thingy that does a thing, and then on top of that thing, there's a thing. I have no idea what I'm doing. How do you do what you do? Oh, okay, you just spin it. So we have a 320 grit. If I can get the light on this. Okay, so we have a 320 grip. We have a 600 grit, and then we have a ceramic. I guess that would be used to finish the blade, and then hopefully you have a separate uh, leather. Wow, my words are escaping me today. Hopefully you have a separate leather strop. I know with the add-on kit, if I wanted to make this the expert kit, let me open it up. I can tell you more precisely because I can't remember exactly. Orders. Where is it? Oh, I've got Cheetos delivered in the mailroom. I'll have to get those. Flaming hot Cheetos. That's not what I wanted. That's not the button I wanted to press. I do not want to buy two. Okay, there we go. So if I wanted to make this the elite, I can buy the accessory kit. The accessory kit comes with more of these stones as well as a carry case. And that one is running $80. The stone, okay, so we had a 320 and we had a 600. And if I go to the precision one, you get 7 grits. You get a 220, a 320, a 400, a 600, and an 800. And then a fine ceramic and a leather ceramic and a small ceramic rod for serrated knives. So, oh wow, that you get a lot with that elite kit. So that might be something. I will add that to my list if anybody wants to buy me a Christmas present. I'm just saying that now. So yeah, they add a lot with that elite kit. You get what is it, 7 stones or 7 abrasives and a carry case, which is actually really, really cool. Okay, so the way this would work, let me go grab kind of a, I kicked my camera again. I'm gonna go grab a knife. That probably could use some sharpening. So hold on a second. Okay, so I have this old knife. This is small because I'm kind of curious to try it out on a small knife. This is just kind of like a leak, like a Kershaw leak, cheap ass copy. 440 stainless steel. As you can see there, this is old. I've had this for, I can't remember how long. It's assisted. I probably didn't pay a whole lot for this one. It's a frame lock, just really cheap gas station knife. And I call it a leak clone because it's in the shape of the Kershaw leak, pretty similar in styling. Obviously not a Kershaw though. I don't know where I got this from. I can't remember. This thing is old as hell. But to test this out, now this, how sharp is this knife? Where's my magazine paper again? I have so much stuff around me, surrounding me. There, I just found it. Now, I did a rough sharpening with this some time ago, but I use this to open a lot of like like Amazon packages. So as you can see, it's serviceable. This was after I hand sharpened the blade, so it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. I'm impressed myself. Ugh. Drop paper. They have a table clamp for the base for $15. I might have to check out the table clamp. This is pretty weighty though. I don't think I'd run into too much trouble. Now the way this works is, again, I have, oh, whoa, okay, that's a thing. Let go. They really like their magnets. Okay, so we have, let go. We have, there's a hole underneath this little portion here, and you can see a little bend or a little nub. If this will focus, is this focusing? Yeah. This piece fits right into this little hole, and then a magnet grabs onto it. Now, we want to set this. Let me take this out so it's easier to see. I want to set this. Now, they're not super precise from the looks of it. So one thing that I've been told that I'd probably want to get would be an angle finder, because it looks like these, I mean, we got 15 degrees here, and then we got 25 degree or 20 degrees up here, and then we have some increments on the right side. So I'm going to guess, okay, so we got 15 degrees right there. I'm going to say 16, 17, 18, 19. I'm counting the lines here. 19, and then all the way to 20 degrees. We are going to set this to approximately 17 degrees. Now, I don't know how accurate this is because I don't have an angle finder. There are angle finders that you can get that you just sort of like lay on. They'll magnetically attach to something, and then they'll tell you the angle that, or whatever it's sitting on. So according to this, I should be at 17, roughly at 17 degrees. And we are going to clamp this baby up. Actually, like I said, this is pretty sharp. I don't know how I'm gonna. I can probably go sharper, but what do I want to do? Where's some cardboard? One thing that's always surprised me, and surprises a lot of people that they don't realize, is people use knives to cut cardboard all the time, not realizing how abrasive cardboard is and how quickly cardboard can dull a knife. Because there's a lot of abrasive bits in cardboard, and depending on the steel, if you're cutting a lot of boxes, a knife can dull relatively quickly. Now this one, I hand sharpened, like I said, freehand. It's not doing too bad. It can, but I can already feel it. I only cut a little bit. Good God, this steel is ass. Again, this is a cheap knife. I'm not knocking 440 stainless at all. I have a feeling the heat treatment on it was probably terrible, because I've had 440 stainless steels that handled cutting for quite some time before getting dull. This one is dulling pretty quickly, this cardboard. I'm also making a really tremendous mess. Before I start killing something on accident. Yeah, that didn't take long. And that's the thing I dislike about, like, no-name knives, gas station knives, is a lot of times some of them even advertise pretty decent steel. And 440 is no slouch. 440 was a steel that they've used for a long time in knife making. Lots of famous knives are done in 440 steel. Rough Rider uses it a lot. Case uses it a lot. Buck Knives still uses 420. I mean, sure, they might not be your premium superstars of today, but they held their own for a good many years. But what people don't realize is it's not just the steel, it's the heat treatment. You can have a very good steel, but if the heat treatment isn't done right, it could be really horrible. Like, you could have a really nice steel that could dull really fast if the heat treatment isn't done the right way. And you could have a steel that a lot of people tend to snub. I know a lot of people have this thing with D2. D2 is known for holding its edge for a very long time. But I've had premium steels that, or I've had D2 that outperformed premium steels because the heat treating on the premium steels is ass. I'm not going to name names, but like, this is getting much tougher, and it didn't take very long for me to run into issues. This is getting dull pretty quick, to the point of it's starting to get a little scary, because cutting with a dull knife is probably the most dangerous thing you can do. See how that goes through now. It's still going through pretty good. Oh, nope. Okay. I got some parts on there that I'm not... Really? It bites at some spots and then doesn't like it. Yeah, okay. So, it's not like screwbally dull, but we'll try this. Just dull it a little bit more. I mean, I didn't run it over a brick, but it's definitely already not performing the same just a minute ago. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that can use some sharpening. All right, let's try that. I don't have the time to really hammer it against any, like, stone. And I don't have a stone to hammer it against, otherwise I probably would. So let's see how this works. So we've got it set to about 17 degrees. Now all I need to do is clamp this shut without sticking myself, would be nice. Okay, so that's nice and in there solid. Then we're going to take our sharpening rod, our plates, and then we're going to put it in there. Now we're going to start with 320, and then we'll move to 600. We'll go to the ceramic, and then we'll go on to the to a leather strap. Now I just want to take a look and see where I'm lying on this, because I want to make sure I'm not hitting something I'm not supposed to, because I do have the blade seated pretty far into the vise, and I don't want to be running this over the vise. So I noticed that I am pretty far back there. Let me move the blade out a little bit more so I have more room. I don't want to sharpen the clamp. Yeah, let's see how that is now. And I don't know this. I don't think this locks. I think it just pretty much stays. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, I've got a lot more what I'm looking at is making sure that that stone isn't hitting that vise. And I've got a lot more space between there now. And there's no need for oil. These are diamond plates. No need for oil or whatever. And then we're just going to go. Now, I'm not really using a lot of pressure. And what this is supposed to do is allow me to stay at the exact same angle along the entirety of that edge. And I can feel that biting into the metal. And I just want to go until I create a burr. Now, I'm looking to see if I'm hitting the same angle that the blade was originally at. And it might be a little shallower. We're fine. And this is just supposed to be one of those ways, like freehand takes a lot of practice because you're trying to practice a lot of consistency, keeping the blade at a specific angle the whole time through with nothing, literally nothing but your hands, which is what's the hardest thing about it. You don't like the scraping sound? I just noticed you screaming there, Morgan. I wasn't sure how much of the scraping sound was coming across. Is that like styrofoam to your ears? Not styrofoam. What do you call that? Blackboard? Chalkboard? No, I'm trying to get to the point of where I create a slight bevel. I do like that they have a little lip. And I've been wondering if I want to create like a sweeping angle to the scratch marks, and I'm thinking I might just go straight back and forth. It might be easier this way and quicker with just a slight angling. Because most factory edges tend to be parallel to the blade edge anyway. So let me make sure that I'm getting an even bevel. Well, not bevel, burr on that side. Yeah, I should have put some permanent marker. I didn't think to look. But eyeballing it, I'm maybe a little shallower, but otherwise pretty close. Because what I was looking at the original bevel and where my scratch marks were going, and I was just a hair off. In fact, even if I covered it with marker, it would have been a very minute adjustment. And this, I have a feeling the heat treat on this isn't so great, like I was saying before. And I've already essentially reprofiled this blade in no time with this 320 grit. It did not take long. I've got a slight burr on that side. So just to be on the safe side, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to flip this over. And we're going to work on the other side. Now, I've never used one of these before. When I started sharpening knives, I've always done so freehand. I used to use whetstones all the time, especially for my kitchen knives. And that's where I practiced or with whetstones. The only problem with the whetstones is they just tend to be messy. They're they take a little bit of time to prep. You know, you can't just start sharpening and go. You know, you can't just go and start sharpening. You have to soak them in a bin full of water. You have to constantly keep them wet, and it tends to be kind of like a. It tends to be a bit of a mess. And then came diamond plates, and I started using those. And I'll admit, I was using whetstones all the time because whetstones are relatively inexpensive in comparison, unless you're spending for some really good quality whetstones. And there are some pricey whetstones out there. There are some really pricey whetstones out there. Okay, I actually already created another burr on the other side. So we are going to go ahead. We're going to take that out. And then I got to be, oh, no, now I'm moving that. Make sure we grab the clamp instead. There we go. Now I'm just going to be a little lighter. Now I'm just working on removing the burr that I created. Again, I'm using very little pressure. Very little pressure on the blade. And keep in mind, I pretty much reprofiled this. Okay. That's not, we're at a point where this is moving along faster. We're going to move this to 600. If it'll allow me to move it to 600, or do we only spin a certain way? Oh, there we are, 600. Okay. Again, very light pressure. Don't need to press down. Well, this is coming along actually really nicely. Have you used one of these before, Waylon? This is my first time using something like this. I've always done freehand. In fact, if this goes really well, I have 2 sharple stones. I might sell my smaller one because I don't think I need that many sharpening stones. I've got a smaller set of a Sharpal kit, and I have a larger Sharpal kit, and I've been using and keeping the larger one. The smaller one has actually just been sitting and not doing anything. It's actually brand new in the box. I've opened it up a few times to show it off, but never used it. And I'm debating just selling that one because I haven't used it. But it's a really nice diamond stone set. You got dual diamond stones. I forgot the grits. I believe they're 320 or 400 to 1,000 or 1,200. I can't remember. I really can't remember what the grits were on that, but they were a good set, and really all you need to sharpen a knife really well, unless you're going for like a mirror polish. For a mirror polish, yeah, you're gonna want higher grits. But as far as just getting a nice fine edge, that Sharpel kit really works very well. Like I said, I have a larger Sharpel kit that I really like using. think we're good there. We are going to move on to the ceramic. There we go. And again, very light. This is going to be essentially finishing this edge. And then I have a leather strop. I don't know if I should use my large leather strop or just use the one on the back of my work sharp thing. Probably just use the back of my my small work sharp. Just use that. It's supposed to bring my big one out. I should have used another rag. Use this one. I'll post some pics on not the word you just ordered a fixed angle sharpener, one of the cheap ones. Oh, okay. Gotta be really careful. I hold this. Yeah, post a pic. I'm always curious about different sharpening systems because I'm still, like I said, I learned how to do freehand, and while I don't mind doing it freehand, obviously sometimes I make mistakes. I don't do it for a living, so and I don't sharpen every knife as soon as I get it. So, I get hours of practice sporadically, not like a constant practice. Um, so I've always wanted to try something like this to see if this could speed things up and just be simpler for me to use. And while I'll always still keep my stones around for like really fine stuff, because I still believe, and from what a lot of other people also agree with, that if you really want the sharpest edges possible, freehand and stones are the way to go, or like freehand diamond stones or whatever. Just freehand is the way to go. But like I said, it does take a considerable amount of practice and repetition. And while I feel like I'm getting there with freehand, um, there's still a lot I could improve upon. And there are times where I just want to get a knife in working condition and I'm not worried about like it doesn't have to have a polished edge to it or anything like that. So I was always thinking about something like this. Like I've seen people use those roller sharpeners and things like that. And I get curious because is it really worth it? Will they give me a decent enough working edge? And how much trouble, how expensive can they be? I always get curious about that. Anything that saves me a little bit of time definitely doesn't hurt. Time does equal money. And I tend to be pretty short on both for obvious reasons, especially if I'm spending money like that on knives. Okay, I think I'm at the point where I want to strop this. So we're going to take this out of the clamp. I'm going to go ahead and take this out of this so I don't do anything stupid with it. That can sit there. I'm going to brush this off a little bit. Now, as opposed to a hand honed, I should have shown it earlier, but as opposed to being relatively rough in terms of the lines, because last time I did this was freehand, and you can see that sometimes I wouldn't, or you can't see it now, but sometimes I'd move a little bit. The sharpening would be always very even, but you can see with this system, from what I can see anyway, the line is very clean on that bevel. Check the other side. So as far as keeping the correct angle along the edge of that blade, it does a pretty good job of that. Now, I noticed there's somewhat of an indent here, but I think that was more due to me with my freehand sharpening. But otherwise, for the remainder of that blade, that's pretty even. Now, again, I need to strop it. I probably could replace the stropping compound on this, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to run it a few times. It'd probably be better if I did replace it, though, but I'm being lazy. And time is fleeting. I just realized, did I spend that much time showing those knives? I just realized it's already 5 o'clock p.m. my time. So a couple of runs over the strop. Already this blade looks, or the edge on this one, this is the best this edge has ever looked. At least to me. Now again, I have a feeling the heat treat isn't all that great on this, so if I were to cut cardboard again, it'd probably be dull within another minute. But let's see how it is on the magazine paper. Whoa. Oh, that is much nicer. Okay, there's a little catch, and I think I know where it's catching. It's catching that one spot that I know was predominantly me doing freehand, like that right in here. Yeah. Otherwise, that is much better sounding than before. A lot crisper edges on the magazine cuts than it was doing before. Very noticeably sharper. I'm also seeing much less magazine paper residue, like along the edge of the blade, except for like here's the point where I didn't really profile with the work sharp. So the sharpening from here actually really starts at about where my nail is, right there. From here on, not so great because that was more of my hand sharpening. But from that point all the way up, really sharp, clean cuts, sounds really good going through the magazine paper. Definite improvement. Yeah, a little bit of magazine debris, but not a lot. You can actually see there's a definitive difference on the edge from this point on, where I wasn't really working it with a work sharp. I don't know if you can see the reflection is a little different from this point, because that's pretty much where my sharpening with the work sharp I stopped. But the rest of that edge is pretty fine. And that was with the 320 and then up to 600. And then finishing it off with the ceramic, primarily with a little bit of stropping. That's impressive. Now, was able to sharpen this really quick because, again, I think this steel is pretty soft. I don't know, their heat treating wasn't great. So that went even quicker than I thought it would. I have no doubt I'd have any problem with any of the other steels, even with a proper heat treatment, though. No, I'm doing a little bit of tearing. Hold on. I think it's because I keep hitting that. Yeah, I keep hitting that area. That's when it starts to tear. As soon as I hit that. Which gives you an idea of the difference between the sharpness of this part of the blade and then that spot. There we go. long as I don't hit that spot, I'm fine. Now I'm just making a mess. Okay, I'm impressed. That worked a lot better. Now, I didn't spend a whole lot of time. I was kind of rushing through because I knew I didn't have a lot of time left for the live. So I know if I were to concentrate a little bit more and be a little bit more careful of my angle and just slow down, maybe take a little bit more time, I have no doubt that I can make some amazing edges with just this alone. Of course, now I'm at the point where I'm now curious about the rest of the kit because they do have a few more stones on that kit with finer grits. And that, the ceramic gave me a pretty good polish on that edge. I mean, sure, it could be a lot better if I had if I spent more time polishing that edge and maybe with a fresher strop. But that's nice. And for a pretty crappy blade, I'm not gonna lie. Your package is here, Morgan. What's beautiful? What are you looking at? Tell me, I'm curious. You got my pack. You got the package that I sent. Good. I'm glad. I don't have to worry about it whether it's not going to get there or not because I get super anxious every time I send a package out, whether it's going to make it there. You're supposed to save that for Christmas. You realize that. You're supposed to be saving those for Christmas. Or are you talking about the candy? You could be talking about the candy. Okay. This, you know what? This actually worked out pretty well. I'm impressed. Now, granted, this is the first one I've ever used. So I mean, other than comparing it to my freehand sharpening capabilities, which like I said, I'm not super great at. I mean, I can create a decent edge, make a workable edge on freehand. I don't have a problem with that. But when it comes to making a more cleaner edge on a knife, I know I still make mistakes. I still could benefit from a lot more practice and a lot more consistent practice. This helps with the consistency since it'll help keep the stone at whatever angle you set it at. So I can kind of take or remove that factor from freehand sharpening, and it did work pretty quick. I'm pretty impressed with it, and it wasn't that bad in terms of price. I've seen single stones go for the same price as this entire unit, or nearly the same price as this entire unit. So now I'm kind of curious about that Elite add-on kit. I might look into getting that pretty soon in the future and seeing if I can't highly polish an edge with something like that, or at least higher polish than what I normally do on a regular sharpening day, I guess you could say. But I'm actually pretty impressed with this. In fact, the funny thing is, I think the grit I have on the freehand stone, because this one has a 600 grit, is the highest stone that this one goes to, and I do believe my freehand, it's either a 1000 or 1200 grit. I'm pretty sure it's a 1200, and I wonder if I can practice reshape, reprofiling, getting it to a certain point with this, and then maybe refinishing it or finishing it off on some of those other stones freehand. Or I might end up just ruining the edge that I created with this. I don't know. We'll have to see. But anyway, yeah, really impressed with this. Really, really nice. And for the cost, not bad at all. I'm curious to see what you got, Waylon. When you get a chance, when yours comes in, do show some pictures. Because I've seen other similar sharpening systems like this varying degrees of cost, varying degrees of complexity. I've seen some where um, the stone pretty much stays in place. You're moving the knife. I've seen some that were really basic looking in construction, but again, you get the consistency because it helps fix that angle. But you don't get a lot of like the bells and whistles I think you might get with other stuff, like say, like where this one's easy to flip. Other ones have a lever that will just flip this automatically. You don't have to pull it out like I've been doing, where I have to take it out and then flip it over. Um, but yeah, I get curious about some of these other systems. I was leery of getting one that was really inexpensive, although I've heard some good things about some of them. I also was obviously leery of getting something that was much more expensive than this because, like I said, I could have gone 130 off the bat, but I was worried if it didn't work out well for me, then I would have just lost 130 bucks. Um, so I thought for cost and feature wise, I thought this one was probably one of the better choices for me to start out with, and I'm not disappointed at all. In fact, I'm quite impressed and surprised at how some of this worked. I wasn't aware of the magnets or how this even attached to that frame. So pretty darn cool little system. I wonder if there's a way to utilize the entire stone because it seemed like I wasn't utilizing the entire stone. As you can see, I was only using about this much of the stone. I don't see a way to flip this around, or maybe it's just the way I have it clamped in the knife because I was using a pretty small uh a pretty small knife to start off with. So that could be the thing. Yeah, pretty impressed with it. I do have to say I like it so far quite a bit. I don't know how long these stones will last. Diamond stones generally last a pretty decent amount of time. I guess it just depends on how much time you're sharpening. I don't sharpen every day. That what I did with that knife was probably the heaviest thing I've done in terms of sharpening within the last like couple months, to be quite honest. And that was because I was doing it on purpose. Overall, I might be sharpening a knife once every few months. And even then, a lot of times I'm not doing anything like a reprofile. I'm just doing like a honing or, something along those lines. I haven't had the misfortune of, say, chipping anything to the point of where I've really needed to seriously reprofile an edge. So I guess I've been pretty lucky with that. So on that regard, I would think that this should last a pretty decent time before I ever think about having to actually replace any of these. Um, Again, time will tell. Who knows? Maybe I might end up doing a lot more sharpening because I've got uh, a really good system. We'll see.
Oh, the razor. Yeah, so I'm glad you like it. Even Kenny said it was pretty. Well, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you got it. I'm glad I was able to get another one. So now I'm just waiting for mine to come in. Because like I said, I don't think they make those anymore. You'll have to post a pic. Post a pic in the knife Discord. Anyway, I think that is going to be it for today. I spent a lot of time with a lot of knives. I even spent quite a bit of time doing some sharpening. Actually, before I go out, did you guys have any questions on anything that you saw today so far? I've been kind of yapping like it wasn't alive. Now you will hoard it. I should see if I can razor. I know they're razor sharp already, but I wonder if I can get to the point of where I can get like scarily razor sharp. Because I know with that one I was able to actually shave a little hair off my arm. I tested it. Yeah, I couldn't help it. I'm gonna test it. Um, but yeah, does anybody have any questions? I don't know who's still here. If anybody has any questions they'd like to ask before I sign off for tonight, I'm trying to think of anything else going on. I know until somebody asks me a question, I know that I have a few more knives coming in for next week because there was a delay. There was one more Remet knife that was supposed to be in. That other one that was supposed to be in and is delayed isn't an expensive Remet.
Thankfully, it's not like a multi-$100 one or anything like that. I forgot how much it was. I'd like to say it was between $50 to $80. I can't remember. But that should come in sometime next week. I've got a few smaller knives coming in next week that were just fun to get and interesting things to add to my collection. So there's going to be more stuff next week. I will be holding another live that Saturday. I think I'll be getting some really interesting ones too. I'll be getting some knives that are going to be, or at least a knife, at least one knife that's going to be a first in terms of manufacturer for me. I'm really interested in checking that out once it comes in. It's a collaboration effort. It's a collaboration and custom effort, which is can't wait to get my hands on it. But hopefully that'll be in next week as well. It won't be nearly as big as today's was in terms of all the knives that I was showing, but hopefully there'll be something interesting to see and something interesting for you guys to check out. I'm really tempted to get the upgrade kit to this now because I'm realizing as I'm thinking about it sitting here, I really liked how that worked. It took a lot of effort out. Um, I still will probably sharpen things freehand because freehand sharpening is something that I want to continue to practice and learn because I just think it's one of those skills that, if something happens to this system, it breaks, or I'm without the system, and I end up using this because this is what I use a lot. I use this more often than anything. Um, Knowing how to freehand sharpen with something, even like something as small as this, or with a regular size stone, I just think it's a really good skill to have, especially for a knife collector. Um, let's see, any other news? I'll still be gaming tonight, so on the Game Cave channel, I don't know what I'm going to play yet. I haven't decided. I know I like to do something different on the weekends, so that'll be going sometime 9 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight. I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. Other than that, I don't really have any new news myself. So no questions from anybody. Everybody's good. Again, I can't remember. I'm not looking at how many people are in here. There might not be much in here. A few people. Yeah, no questions. Okay, I think that'll be pretty much it. So what did you guys think was your favorite knife out of everything that you've seen so far today? Let me break this down. I don't think I'm gonna pull this completely apart. I'm just gonna put this to the side. I don't want to take the stand off. Um, what do you think was your favorite knife that you've seen today out of everything that I pulled? I had all the Vermette knives. I know they're all in the boxes still. That Civivi was a big surprise for me. That giveaway win. The concept is the hazard, really cool, really kind of scary. All the case knives that I had. I gotta break that case. I gotta break that new case open and start putting some of these in there. Um, I gotta sort out because I think I'm gonna start sorting out my cases by maker. I've got so many knives. I've got to figure out how I want to store these. I still need to find a nice display case. I need a good display case for my case knives. Hopefully soon. Those things are expensive as hell, though. But anyway, okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and edit. If Morgan, tell me what was your favorite? You're still here, unless you're busy licking that new razor I got you. Waylon, the Ramette. Which Ramette was it? The Meteor or the Sacred Falcon? I'll tell once you guys tell me what yours is, I'll tell you what mine is. This one I'm pretty sure was this a Sacred Falcon? Oh, this was the Meteor. There's the Meteor. And this one is the Sacred Falcon. I should just leave these out of the boxes. I'm gonna end up putting these in the case anyway. The blue Tonto, that would be the Sacred Falcon. That would be this one. So the Sacred Falcon was your favorite, Morgan. That's this. That's the Sacred Falcon. The one that I've got to play around with so I can Spidey flick it without pulling a muscle. Yeah, that detent needs to wear down just a hair. Just not wear down. What am I saying? It needs to break in. I think once it's broken in, I think it's just going to be like that one concept. It'll be perfectly fine. The Meteor, you like the Meteor? Yeah, you know what? I'm having a hard time. I like both. The Meteor's nice. I love that button lock. It's almost serves the same function. It's just in a different spot. Just a little farther back. But otherwise, both smooth blade. Oh, got to get used to that front flip. Smooth action on both of these. I can't Spidey flick this one, I don't think. I can never Spidey. I don't know how people do it. I've seen people Spidey flick thumb studs. I can never Spidey flick a thumb stud. I have to do it via. I should rephrase that. I have to, if I'm going to spider flick anything, it's going to be with a thumb hole. I can never spider flick a thumb stud. I don't know how they do it. Meteor is really nice. I love the carbon. Honestly, if I were to pick my current favorite from just the ones that I've unboxed today, just the ones I unboxed today, it would have to go from left to right. These would kind of be in a tie for my favorite. I keep going back and forth. I like them both. And then the Hinderer, or not the Hinderer, what am I saying? Not a Hinderer, the Hazard, because this Hazard just tickles me inside with that lock. I just think this locking mechanism is really neat, and the blade itself is really cool. Nice, thick, huge blade. Very interesting locking system. It'd have to be that, followed by the Vosteed and the Baby Banner, I think, is the order that I'd put them in. For me. I can't forget about the Vosteed. Vosteeds are excellent blades. I love their raccoon. I love their porcupine. And this is just a really neat. I keep forgetting it doesn't have a liner or a frame lock. I keep putting my thumb where one would be to close the blade, but nothing's there. But real cool one from Vosteed, the new one, the Croc, and then the Baby Banter after that. And then all the case knives I put on a different list. I love all my case knives that I've gotten so far. I'm not gonna put them in comparison with these guys. They're their own entire group. So I think that's how I'd go. I think these two, kind of tied for first, in my opinion. I have a hard time choosing between the two. I'm admittedly kind of leaning towards this a little bit because I love the pivot lock on it. The only reason why it hasn't jutted out as number one is because I do need to break it in a little. This one next, and then followed by this, and then this the VV Banner. I think that's how I would place the knives that I've got today. And then everything else is kind of on its own. Like I said, the case knives are on a entirely different level than the moderns. I can't pick a favorite on those because they're all pretty similar and I love them all. So I just love my case knives. Anyway, okay, that's going to be it tonight. Like I said, I will be back with some gaming in the gaming channel at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm not running an auction tomorrow, but if you're interested in anything that I am selling, I still have stuff up for sale on my Buy It Now bin in the Whatnot application. So if you're in Whatnot, go check out my Buy It Now. I don't think I have any knives there currently because I've sold every knife I've wanted to sell. But do check back often because sometimes I might change my mind. And there's a possibility there might be a sharpening system, some diamond stones that might make its way to my Buy It Now. Possibly. For a pretty decent price. So yeah, keep checking that one if you're interested in helping me out and buying something from my Buy It Now on Whatnot. Other than that, I think that's pretty much about it. So thanks again for joining me. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for all your support. If you liked what you saw, please drop a like down below. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. And that way you'll be notified once I drop some new videos, which I will be doing quite a few of this upcoming week. So thanks again for being here. And hope to see you guys in the next video. So again, I don't have a closing. I'm just going to end it. I'm working on it as soon as I find some free time to play around with the closing and the opening and all that fun stuff. So I'll take a look at that music again and see what fits best. Have a good one, guys. Thanks again, and catch you later. Bye.